I don't actually want to elaborate.
Sure.
Okay.
For your sakes.
No worries.
His hand got caught in the toffee jar.
No, I wish.
Lubricated.
I took a nap before the session and woke up sicker than before, which is not how it's supposed to be.
It's unfortunate.
That's what happens whenever I take a nap.
But I'm here now.
Hey.
That is fortunate. So we're all here. Wow. Acting.
So, yes, stream is working. That's good.
Yes. All right. Who feels like they can give us a recap?
Feels like I haven't done it in a while.
I could do it if you don't want to, Sheep.
Yeah, alright, you go for it. I'll do the next one.
Sure. Pretty simple. Last session, we went in pursuit of beast packs that Amath Phoneren, the Lord of Winter Pipers, sent after us. 3 groups. We resolved 2 of them. One that relevant. Another one that was also relevant because we're dragons. We're pretty awesome. We obviously won that one. The day's been saved. The 3rd group, the most hidden of the group, we're going to leave that for later. We ended the session flying back to the Dragon Fane because Baristrix wanted to break some news to Valignith, and Emmy's our leader there. That's it.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
All right. Beyond that, we have our goals filled out. Assuming no one wants to get rid of any, then
No.
I do not have an interest in getting rid of any. We have discovered the plans of the Southern Giants, establish a trade connection with Thunderhome, access the knowledge of Redenseer, establish a Temple Guard of Tiamat, eliminate the Spellscarred Kingdom, and deal with the Winter Lord's peace. So, I accept those. I reckon.
yeah, good. Then there's really no discussion on that needed.
All right.
And we can move straight on to where we were, pretty much. It's just set. Dragons are flying back to the Dragon Fane. The idea probably that they want. Do you want what Baristrix has to tell them?
Yes.
We should have.
Is that
There's no map for it. We're on the Serpent Valley.
is there like a little entrance thing that I was in before? Or is that
Was-
just yeah?
Was there a little entrance thing you were in before?
Yeah, last session? I'm
I
very
thought it was
sure.
just described. I didn't realize there was actually a thing.
I
No,
mean,
it's like a circle map for it.
yeah, unless
Oh.
I'm going insane, I'm fairly sure I saw something.
All
Sure,
right.
I can put you up here, though we don't really need all of the circle map because it's pretty big. So we'll just
Oh.
put you in the middle, which just means white ground.
Yes.
Yes.
You could probably remove my little lair segment by this point too. Panic.
All right.
What do you
Well,
mean your layer segment?
The little,
You
the
don't
little
want it?
lair segment. Well, I mean, I like it, but I moved out, so it was there for the storytelling thing.
Fine. There you go.
Ah!
Wow, how beautiful tiles. I love them.
Ah!
Yeah, so I
It
guess the
Slight bit faster to load the map, I guess.
yeah.
the dragons fly back to the Fane and get all settled, and for the big bad news, and Beatrix will give it thus. Pleasantries aside, we'll address them and say, the forces of the Spellscarred have been, well, thoroughly decimated in the battle against Elm. However, the true threat is something far greater than that. The truth of the Spellscarred Kingdom is actually what all these Spellscarred sacrifices happen for. An amalgamation of minds into one aberrant being. I had hoped to use it to my own ends, but now it grows stronger than I can accept, already calling me to join it as one of the many minds that make it up. Mother Druma has foreseen a future of my death and her own through enslavement at its hands. It is clear that I have acted with risk and I have flown too close to the sun. I plan to destroy this being, however, it has garnered allies, and I suspect the Aboleth is one of them. Mother Druma and I have been working on a temporary countermeasure to its influence. Once that is done, I plan to take it on before it gets too powerful, for better or worse. The reason why I'm telling you is that, well, for once, I do not know how this will end. And as such, I am here asking for, well, your aid in the matter.
Missouri closes her eyes. She says, so let me see if I understand this. All the Spellscarred cultists gathering together have something they call a kingdom. And this kingdom isn't some sort of claim or promise, the land or something beneath that's like a power source for them, but instead some sort of aberrant comprised of many Spellscarred. And it continues to more and more Spellscarred.
That's about the right of it, yes. Ere Albert was, well, as unassuming he may have been, his plan was to grow this being into a more powerful state. Spread it. Acquire as many minds as it could.
Her eyes are still closed. I recall you had attracted a Spellscarred into your service. Does this kingdom, you can almost see like the eyes roll beneath like her eyelids, have some sort of pull or exertion over them?
He thinks for a moment and says, the last time I interacted with them, they are very much, well, of their own mind, so to speak. However, it is likely that perhaps it may try and garner control over them. However, that is something that I plan to avoid.
Does this relate at all to the strange happenings that were spotted around Elm and Worm's Hamlet, and with my were-rats in the Valley of Creatures, sort of having their skulls caved in and their brains not quite right?
He scratches his chin and says, there are a lot of strange happenings. However, I do not think that is, well, the result of the Spellscar Kingdom. It lays below. It does not, by itself, affect, but it could be something else.
You said this entity or entities had befriended the Aboleth below. Could perhaps this be the Aboleth's doing? Of there were whispers before Elm was destroyed of people hearing, "Join us, come down below. It's much safer, and you'll be happier down there."
Well, the Aboleth's aid is something that was an educated guess. In the vision that Mother Druma saw, the method of control over her and I was, well, the slime you've seen the Aboleth incorporate. So that is why I assume that they're currently working together. It could be its doing, yes.
We still have no reasonable way of dealing with that Aboleth, yes?
Not currently, no, but I figured it prudent to update you on my. He pauses for a second, says, on my failure of my plan. Things have
She
gotten
opens
out
an
of
eye.
hand.
Opens an eye.
It
Looks at Ferristrix.
it took a certain. Let's just say that recent events have caused me to rethink my motivations and methods, and I have come to the conclusion that I have made a mistake.
She seems pleased by this. Closes the eye again.
I, for one, don't have nearly as many questions. If you need help in destroying something, I've repeatedly offered exactly that, so to retract that now would be odd, to say the least.
I will say your offer of help on our last meeting was certainly a catalyst for my decision to ask for it. But currently I have no immediate action. If you are willing, then I will let you know when I'm ready. There are more things in the valley to but as well.
Veristrix, what do you know of this entity beyond what you've told us?
Mike scratches his chin, says, well, I have seen into its mind as it has seen into mine. It's an unfortunate consequence of our first meeting. It seems to be, well, a chorus of minds acting in unison together. It seems to have, well, the capability of overwhelming one's mind, or at least gaining access and entry. However, as for its other, well,
Veristrix, you said that the entity has seen into your mind. What does it know of us? And now both eyes open.
Chicks will think back, say, it knows more than it should. It knows. It knows that I am marked, and such also knows of the ritual itself. However, as much as it could gain from me, I did certainly try to prevent. However, it was probably not that successful. Which is why I also seek to destroy it. It knows too much now.
Emuzare shifts her gaze from Veristrix over to Valigna.
I, for one, am not worried. I surprise myself every day, so it should not be too difficult to get an advantage over this thing, regardless of how much it knows about me.
Hold on. Emuzare, obviously tries to hide her amusement. Valigna says, and fails.
Well, I will try to gain as much intelligence as I can on this before we act. While it does know about us, the upper hand could easily be gained with some care.
Does it still it having had access to your mind, them, do you expect this spell-scarred kingdom entity knows what you're planning?
It might have some insight into how I work and how I am motivated and how I am driven. However, it does not see into my mind now. It may perhaps know that I am planning against it, but as to what end, it does not know. That I am certain of.
Don't suppose it's still where you last met it, is it?
Shrugs and says, that would be... I'd rather not check, but it has seemed to stay there most times. However, if it has made contact with things down the Underdark, then perhaps it has moved or has, well, used something to garner a message. The battle against Elm has significantly powered it. The forces that were fought were, well, they were the ones who would not be of use. They were thrown to the wolves. Anyone else of sound mind and body were sacrificed.
That includes their mayor?
Shakes his head and says, I do not know. I did not get a chance to see him before I was incapacitated.
She like pauses to think. And then, because she just like rolls her shoulders and it's not a dragon. It's not important to her. What creature could equal the might of a dragon? Especially 3 dragons. Doesn't happen. She says, fine.
Gershux will tilt his head and say, I will admit I expected, well, given my aptitude for not telling anyone about anything that happens, I expected a bit more resistance, but I do appreciate your help.
Well, here's the thing, Verishix. Even the consideration aside that should you fall victim to some mind-eating conglomerate of an entity, it would most likely affect us as well, considering Hell's influence and all. There is a palpable benefit to you being successful, to all of us. Same reason, really, Hell's influence again. We are forced to work together, which means we do work together, which means each of us being sufficiently powerful is benefit. So what you're doing, asking for help, is not necessarily admitting defeat, although in your case it most definitely is. It is also an opportunity for us to push our own strength, to push our own power by helping you.
Nuts?
Now, of course, if you want to take this opportunity to consider the favor by both of us, then please do so and return it later.
Perhaps I will then.
Perhaps you should.
He's a bit confused because he expected a lecture, and then all he's getting is the complete opposite of that, and it's kind of confusing him in a weird way. But he collects himself and says, well, that is the state of my affairs. However, we know that there is more going on in the valley than just me. There are giants as well to deal with.
One moment, I wasn't quite done yet. You see, as I've often been told in the past when doing something that may or may not have potentially had negative effects on myself and therefore all of us, perhaps consider the fact that should this happen too often, there are opportunities, ways to prevent you from being stupid further. I think Emmy knows what I'm talking about. She has threatened me with it multiple times.
Emmy closes her eyes and just nods and leaves her eyes closed.
Reshik smiles and says, "That seems quite fair. It applies to all of us. It should apply to me too."
Oh, yes, it does absolutely apply to all of us. The fact that it came to an actual confrontation between the two of you, where I wasn't entirely sure whether that was some part of some elaborate plan that I was simply not privy to for some reason, or whether it was a genuine confrontation with the risk of severe harm to either or both of you, still infuriates me to no end.
Well, I will answer you this. I had absolutely no idea. So I was just as confused as you were. However, it ended quite better than I had possibly thought it would. So I don't wish to discredit Emisari's efforts.
Emmy, sorry, her eyes closes. My plan was to weaken all of the entities outside the valley so that everything could be taken care of if nothing could challenge our glory. It's exactly what happened.
Perhaps in this case, the result justified the means, but I would rather this does not happen again. If you're planning such a thing, tell me. And do not involve any of us as your unwilling opponent.
She says there was nothing unwilling about it.
I think Villigin that she got her point across very firmly.
Question is just what exactly that point was. If it had not been Veristrix on the other side. No, let me rephrase that. If you had pushed Veristrix too far to the point where he thought himself severely threatened by your actions, he could have done something even more stupid. Such as not opposing this entity, but perhaps trying to use it in a way that he questioned before, that he considered dangerous before. But dignity is a powerful thing. Perhaps he did not want to be beaten by you, and accepted aid from sources that are not nearly as benevolent as I am trying to be.
Emmy
This
Saray
whole-
opens an eye. Benevolent? What part of me wanting to destroy the Spellscard had I not made clear from the beginning?
Oh, you had made it very clear, but that does not excuse the fact that you fought a fellow of your siblings.
I did not fight a fellow dragon, unlike you, you irresponsible twit.
What?
You will not lecture me. She
Oh, I
stands up.
absolutely will.
I am leaving. And you can
Sure.
reside here in your stupid fame. She takes off.
She'll consider my words, whether she likes it or not.
There
We should.
is. I
My-
appreciate
My point
the
is
effort.
just we should not include each other in our scheming, because it may lead to things we will later regret.
That is a wise point that you make. There was perhaps a moment, brief, but too long for even me to think about, that perhaps I should have accepted aid from, well, the thing I wish to destroy now. It is a thing I should think about from now on. That said, well, now that Emizuri has flown off, Unless there is something you wish to speak about, or something in the valley that requires attention that you require my aid for, and perhaps I should take my leave as well.
No, not exactly your aid. Your presence, of course, soon. As for Emmy, she's merely angry, I believe, because I'm right. Anger is good, though. Anger makes you think. And not necessarily clearly, but a different kind of clear. A simple thought. I don't like complicated. Perhaps you should try to be angry too. Find something to be angry at.
Vershix smiles and says, I am not one to get angry. I feel it clouds the mind, but I will take your point to heart. But yes, I will be present at what I assume you're implying is that your meeting will be soon upon us, yes?
Oh, yes, very.
Good then. Well,
Perhaps a 10-day or so.
that will give me time to prepare my own stuff. To, well, make sure I don't get enslaved and die to a horrible spell-scarred monstrosity, yes? Smirks. I made a joke, but I'm also really worried about this. And then, yeah, he will leave to do his own stuff.
All right. Looks like the dragons are each going back to their various lairs.
Yep, think so.
All right. Which way does Imizure return? South or north around the dam?
North.
All right, yeah. You can see the smashed camp, the battlefield, passes over it. Does she avoid the place or
No, I think she'd fly right over it. She asserted her dominance.
Sure. All right. It's been a while at this point. But it does seem like there's some activity going on down there.
Of course there is. Refugees trying to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't look like. She looks down there, and there certainly is a sense of almost like a primal sort of unnatural, an instinct of well, to a non-dragon we would call it fear, right? To a dragon might call it apprehension.
Huh.
It's just a couple people. One of them wearing a red long robe with a hood, and the other one sort of a big, bulky, lumbering figure dressed in plate mail, walking close behind. The figure is currently has collected what seems to be several sort of bodies, and around him you can see what seems to be ethereal versions of some of the people who might have died in this fight, walking amongst their fellow dead, collecting and sorting.
Like, apprehension is certainly the correct word there. I think based on what she heard from the were-rats and what she knows about the past of us, what's been going on in Elm, I think that apprehension is enough to make her want to leave from being over the camp. Yeah. Yeah, leave those red-robed figures and their ethereal summons behind.
All right. Sure.
Just gotta head back home. And just like the giant mutated tree down the south, we're gonna pretend that's not happening.
Yeah, that's on my doorstep.
Well, nope. Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
All right. Good.
Maybe they'll meet up with the ogres and giants.
Maybe they'll be friends.
Yeah. We could promote peace and harmony here in the region.
All right. Any other? Does any dragon want to do something, or has any plans for getting back together, or is it sort of time to lay low and let be?
Zure wants to lay low and let be. I think, if anything, she wants to proceed in this now new like shell game, or like sort of like a chess match that she's imagined with this final beast that's come. Give the were rats an ear and be on the lookout. She'll be on the lookout too.
Yeah.
That's it. She's not gonna fuss with the giants. She's not gonna fuss with the mutated trees. She's not gonna fuss with the problem that doesn't exist.
Well, I think Veristrix has something he's working on, and so he'll continue doing so until he gets some
Yeah.
something out of it.
Vilignith?
Valignov would like to actually not engage in metallurgy for a change, but in alchemy
Oh,
and brew a few potions,
wow.
which he has the ability to do, so that should not be a huge issue.
Okay. If he has the ability to do so, then no, that should not be a huge issue.
Yep, he has the brew potion ritual.
Right? Can turn some valuable gold into tea.
Dragon
tea, sure.
Tea.
All right.
Basically like smithing, except it's a bit more watery.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the gardener can't get behind that, though. Probably not in the, brewing things is it's acceptable as an endeavor. Does Vilignith do that down in his lair or up in the Fane?
He'd probably actually do it in the Fane. Like he arranged the whole water supply thing, which
Mhm.
would be in a bit less of a supply down in his lair.
Yeah. And when a giant sinks down to his knees, like that's a lot of mud to wade through. Nobody really wants that. All the rocks are like slick and a lot of dust that's not been sort of washed away for a long time has begun moving. There's been a slight like mud flood from the upper part of the valley down to the lower one, like knocked over a couple trees. It's a real mess in there.
And I'd imagine the Fane to be a good place to do magic. Perhaps not yet, but you attract magic by doing magic or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Who knows if that's
That's not
actually
wrong.
true. Valignif is winging it in many aspects of his life, and usually it works out.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. Sounds like you want to start a downtime. I don't believe you will be interrupted by anything you can't
I mean,
talk
could be
to.
interrupted. But it's fine. I mean, I still got my dailies. It's okay. Let it rip. Come on.
But Vilignith will be approached at some point during the next 10 days by a couple of the dwarves, not the matron, not her son. Dwarves she probably doesn't really see as important, nameless goons, as it were, to him anyway.
To him, all the dwarves
Yes.
are nameless, even the matriarch.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. And they sort of go up. Is there an established, like, hey, we want to talk to the dragon sort of way to do that? Or
He hasn't really set anything up like that. They are basically allowed to just walk up to him and be like, hey.
Mhm.
And if he doesn't want to talk, he just leaves.
Well, they will come up to him at some point when he seems to be, available.
He's lounging out on the platform of the thing quite a bit.
Give it like a bow. Dwarves are very proud creatures. They don't really bow super deeply, but they do bow, which is, it's a thing, something that happens now. As we'll sort of step up and say, Lord Willignith, we came from Thunderhome some time ago, yet we were brought here because of promises of treasure, perhaps an ancient hold, favors done the clan mother. Just to see if he has the attention of the dragon.
Yeah, Willignith will do the Emmy thing of like opening one eye and turning around so that he looks at them like sideways.
So yeah. And we were thinking, suppose we're not really off Thunderhome anymore. The Thanes there would doubtlessly frown upon our association with dragon of your caliber. They do not understand the necessity of these things. They are proud. So perhaps nothing else to negotiate with, but perhaps also to enrich ourselves. Guarding a lair is all well and good. Guarding a way through the deep is all well and good, but you will have to have a reason for people to come this way. There might be such a reason in the mountains somewhere.
And by your tone, I assume you know where and what exactly.
She says, no one knows where. No. There's rumors that out there, he gestures vaguely to the west, somewhere in these mountains, say there is a silver mine. Dwarves held it for a while, a long time. Among the barren hills. I do not know exactly what's left there, but it's said that the dwarves did not give it up easily. Surely if it was empty, they would have. Thunderhome is looking for it. They have been for a long time. Though, of course, moats provide some of what they need. The promise of silver, lots of silver, is not something anyone would shy away from. He's a little careful to approach, but maybe the dragon has other ideas of how to deal with Thunderhome, but should we find it first, I think we could probably claim it for the clan and, enrich all of us.
You would not claim it for the clan. Tell me about these rumors.
He will nod and begin showing you like old map basically of the mountains. Essentially, they have an idea of which area to look in. However, it being a mine, it's underground, and it being very old, it might even be under like a rock slide or something. But, well, allegedly, the giants of the mountains, who once had a grand realm, really, even in the northern parts here. Back when the dam was whole, and well, there was a lot more giants in that time. The dwarves don't really dwell on why, what happened to them, but It's said that they had a great silver mine. Indeed, Thunderhome has found tombs and such with silver treasure in them, and that has only reinforced the idea that this silver must have come from somewhere. Now, where exactly this mine is, well, I have some idea, but I know the giants used slave labor to mine it a long time ago. They would have to go search, but the problem is, of course, that Thunderhome is closer to the locations they think the mine would be in. And if they went to search there, maybe there would be some provocation or offense taken.
Hmm.
Thunderhome isn't currently looking that hard, given that they're sort of trying to secure a couple of good moats, but well, in time they'll find it. We're for sure of that.
Well, surely they can't be too upset about competition if they aren't searching that hard themselves. Surely, if you were to find it, that just means that Thunderhome didn't look properly. It's not like we want to steal it from them, we just want to get there first.
Not slightly, as though we wouldn't necessarily want to share, would we?
Not cheaply.
Well, we were thinking of going to look for some strange things up in the mountains. Bundles of cloth with bones. Now, we simply wanted to ensure that if Thunderhome or something else were to be upset at us, we would have your support in this endeavor.
You would. Assuming, of course, you're trying to claim this mine for myself, in which case you would be richly rewarded, and not for your clan.
These days, we make little distinction.
That is very good. Do it then. If you run into trouble, you know where to find me.
Good. We will leave as soon as we're ready.
Fast forward, like, no, we have the support of a powerful red dragon. You will not, will not harm me at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Suddenly, Valigna playing for everything. He's like, I didn't even do half of this.
Dwarves just go around insulting random people because they have the support of a red dragon.
turns out a bigger red dragon lived in the mine, but we took some stuff and came back for you.
Great.
Yeah. All right. I believe beyond that, no one's going to come disturb you. So let's have some actual downtime actions then. Do you want to start, Varistrix, if you like?
Sure. Sure
Okay.
thing.
Thing you're working on.
Can you remind me of the exact wording of what I was doing?
You are you're searching for a countermeasure to mental domination.
Right. Well, Bearstrix knows that most creatures from the far realm have some let's say they're mostly associated with that sort of psychic or that which way. And so what he would like to do is to have a bit of a think about all the aberrant far realmian creatures that he can think of, and see if there's something in there that he can use to his own ends. So basically, what I'm asking is if he makes a dungeoneering check
Mhm.
to have like a generalized
That
knowledge
makes sense.
check, specifically about aberrant creatures. And because, in part due to the spell scar and also in part due to his own studies, he has learned a lot about them. He is a deep sage. So when he does dungeoneering checks to identify aberrant creatures, he gets a bonus, and he can also speak deep speech, which is kind of what most of them do anyway. So
Mhm. Yeah.
go do that. 15, 33.
Yeah, I mean that is 3 progress, which brings you 5 progress, which means that yes, he does actually manage to figure something out.
Right.
So there's no easy way to deal with this specifically, really. For the kind of domination, he's not really sure, how exactly this thing would do it. However, it seems to, from the past, not be something it does actively sort of immediately. In fact, the domination in the witches of vision or portents was probably more from the slime that seemed to cover them than it was from the kingdom itself. The slime is most importantly, don't get it on you. But if that cannot be avoided, you want some, you know, he wanted something that he could do in the worst case.
Yeah.
And, well, he's pretty sure that if he could find a mind that he's intimately familiar with, he might be able to, prior to having to undergo this confrontation, absorb it and sort of, when such an influence would come upon him, let the other mind take the blow, so to speak. It would give him some temporary protection until the other mind was entirely broken.
Mm.
However, it is a ritual that would have to be set up, and it would be a little bit akin to what the Spellscott Kingdom is doing, perhaps, absorbing someone else into himself. You know, yes, for time, perhaps, but there would be no way that person, being, could sort of be returned afterwards.
Okay. It's good to know. That was my first
You could do
thought.
the
That I
old
was
man
like,
if you wanted
yeah,
to.
Well,
I was thinking.
I wasn't sure whether the old man's mind could take a beating at this point.
It's a good question. Depends on from what, probably.
Yeah.
Feather.
Logic, he certainly is very strong.
The truth, I see
This
it.
dragon is absolutely crazy. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
More of a mercy for him at this stage. He's almost dead anyway, but yeah, we'll see.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Right.
Ideally, it would be done some, a day or two, or a couple before the confrontation.
Okay.
To it, sort of, it can basically last a little while, but after a while, it's sort of not really a thing that's meant to exist in a way. So
Yeah. Alright.
it's probably not gonna naturally, it'll disappear. His mind is not really one that's supposed to hold more than one entity.
Yeah.
How dare you? If I want to hold multiple entities, I'll do it.
Sort of a self-inflicted schizophrenic.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of deals with that in halves with his dream form. It's kind of like himself in another way.
Exactly. I
So
mean, it's not something anyone else could really do.
I will take the finest sages of the world into my mind so that no one else may access them. Only I will.
It's a library in Reddit's here.
I need all the books.
I am the book now.
There's an old like D&D thing from one of my like Wizards second edition like books of like this ancient sage tree that's known to folks, where it's like the most preeminent like scholars and like wizards like sit in the damn tree and argue, and maybe if you're good and patient and play along, like you can like lob them a question, and that's just gonna be Veristrix.
Yeah.
Go to him. He's the the oracle.
The one.
Perstrix gonna turn into a tree.
Oh no.
Just argues him. It's like, oh no, you've been
Christ,
like, might try
I
to burn
joined
you.
with the Grove this time.
Yeah,
Aha.
might be
The
an
matron.
opening now.
Yeah, the matron's like final like moments, or like she like looks out at the horizon, and, like the tree of Elm is just like blossoming and growing again.
Really purple.
What a
Oh.
weird what a weird alternate ending.
But the
It-
future refused to change.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's good.
Soraxus, the new Lord of Winter Pipers. Yeah, all right. That's Verstrix then. Malignant. Any you want to start a project, or you got another thing you wanted to?
I don't think so for the time being. He's just, preparing for his meeting, which will happen, like, I guess next week. I've never really specified the exact time in game, but he would certainly know when that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so why next week and not this week?
I know what my event is.
Sure,
on.
just do it now.
Let's do it.
All right. So it's within 10 days. Okay. And then we have Missouri.
Yeah, I think there's not going to be any project on her, so I think this is going to be time for her to get herself reacquainted with all of the minions and servants that she has under her command. So it's part of like the preparation for whatever shell game the Lord of Winter Pipers is going to do out there with this final beast next. I think she wants to take the time to review like everyone she has under her employ. So it's basically just going to be like one of those like quarterly like meetings where like the employer brings the employee in.
Everyone's
Like,
really
like a
nervous.
like a performance review. So that's what you're gonna do, like one at a time. Like where Rat comes into like the lair, like a fucking sprite comes into the lair. Panther comes into the lair. She nods at the Panther nods back, the Panther leaves.
Yeah.
So the gardener is he'll be brought back after the end of the 10 days, after the end of the meeting. You'll have an interview. That's what she's gonna do. It's needs to get reacquainted with everyone she's got these days.
Ambrose there,
He's not an employee, he's kind of
he sticks around.
yeah.
Sits outside the door, looking at people, making everyone more nervous.
Yep. Like you're next.
Raising his eyebrow at certain people's names, like,
She doesn't know what to do with Amrath at this point. Like she's fine with him still being around for now because of the whole like Malar collection, but it's kind of like, what is he doing with his life?
He has other plans. I mean, this recent development was kind of great, really.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a little down recently, but given what's just happened, he's like, yes, Elm's gone, and the Spellscott camp is gone. He's
Civilization got
like,
fucked.
So he's taking a little. He's taking a little, almost like a little holiday. Really, he's in a good mood. Taking up like smoking a pipe again. It's like.
He feels like he's been on holiday for like a season at this point, if not longer.
Yeah, well, he built a whole grove. It just didn't work out well. Well, maybe it did, kind of. He's not really, he doesn't dwell on it. And now he's thinking about what to do next. He certainly seems to have ideas. I mean, if you mentioned, sir, that, the Gulfair Forest is not that far away.
Yeah, it's true.
So, there is a great presence in that forest, that very massive forest of druids, and perhaps at some point given that it seems that Missouri does enjoy the policies, the faith of Millar, the sort of the edicts.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps it might be time to bring them more to that forest, which is coming to feel a bit too safe these days. There's another philosophy that seems to be prospering there. He went out here essentially to spread Millar's power. Maybe at some point he could return to, well, ideally have a bit of a reckoning.
Oh, I mean, nothing's stopping him if he wants to go, right?
Yeah, well, for now, stick around here. Maybe begin ranging to the south, see what these Nobanian worshippers are up to these days.
Has he gotten in touch with anyone from the Emerald Enclave or tried to? Have they gotten in touch with them?
He hasn't really tried to. He sort of hadn't really done what he was supposed to do here. Like the whole camp sort of got a little out of hand, he would say.
I mean, he can report back, mission accomplished,
yeah.
you're dead.
At this point, he can sort of... Good.
Yeah.
He might just go do that.
Yeah. If he wants to claim responsibility, whatever. Just fucking, it's up to him. Bunch of druids, whatever. Yep.
It's done. That's really what's important.
Yep. It's done.
Beyond that, he knows that the green dragons like forests, and though this is a nice, holy hill even.
I mean, Gulfmere Forest does, it does call to her. There's definitely an attachment there, but this place is pretty warm and cozy.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid she had to fly further to meet Felignev. Oh, for fuck's sake.
It would be pretty far at that point. Like to come back to the Fane, that's not a short distance anymore.
Yeah, she'd just be talking to him for the damn sending stone at this point.
But who knows, right? Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe she'll outgrow even the hill itself.
Yeah. Pretty cozy for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing too strenuous. Not a surprise.
Taking it easy.
I mean, she's still celebrating her glorious victory.
Oh yeah, actually. Was it glorious?
She won, everyone else died.
Yeah, it's good times there. Whereas we'll also report that Elm seems desolate. They've been moving through, looting a little bit here and there.
Yeah, they made mention of those tunnels.
One of them did return actually with he found, and believes that there's probably more buried in there under the collapsed tree roots. It seemed to be sort of a nice, not too big, but certainly a ruby. Some value.
Ruby?
Yeah.
Huh.
They believe that there's rubies under that old tree.
Oh.
The sort of stump. I mean, at this point, it's probably still like cinders, and like that's gonna take a couple weeks to actually fully stop smoking.
I mean, if those were-rats might feel like, getting out if they're getting too uneasy or bored. Maybe we could have like a payment policy and delivering rubies to Missouri Leaderthere.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
If encouraged, I mean, they can certainly poke. They're a little cautious. The place doesn't feel right.
Of course
but,
not.
No. They're curious and sort of really danger-hungry creatures. So
I could any ruby they find, as a matter of fact, I could pay half its value in gold and silver to them.
Oh wow.
So it's like they get to keep half the profits.
Yeah, it's a nice translation of wealth.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell they'd spend it on, but since they can transform themselves and go into whatever town they want.
People. It's usually really filthy people, but
Yeah.
every now and then, there's some smugglers on the river that they can they get stuff if they try.
Yeah.
They're good at bluffing and lying and sort of. In these days, they can always say they're refugees from Elm.
True. That's a built-in to go-to excuse now. Who could claim otherwise?
Of course, they're filthy and dirty. They're
Yeah, they have nothing. This is all they have, their
Except for
family
all the money,
treasure.
movies.
Yeah. It's all they managed to salvage. Please.
Yeah. So they'll be diving into that.
Good. Keeps him out of. Well, she thinks it keeps him out of harm's way. And if it doesn't, well, then she'll learn something new.
All right. End of the downtime. It's been 10 days. And good old Volcord has finished his ritual.
He did it. Him and the stone giant oracles.
Yeah. Oh.
Which means he's actually going to get some real good information about a smart thing to do.
Finally.
Yes, it's been a while.
I'm so hoping it's just going to tell him to leave.
The wisest choice is the one in which you leave this valley, this cursed
You
valley, and never
know-
return.
Only
The
winning move
dragon-
is not to play.
The dragon might figure out what happened just from the response. But in fact, Volcourt begins to move south out of the valley.
What?
Ah.
For he requires something that can catch dragons in the air.
Oh no.
He requires something that can bring them to him, that can force them to deal with him, because so far he's not really been able to force a confrontation. That's disappointed in Volcourt, but Volcourt's faith will carry him through. Beyond that, he's also almost out of goblins, and that's bothersome. But hasn't had too many giant losses, and well, when he returns, he will be far more ready for what he believes is the problem here, which is get the dragons on the ground to fight him in whatever way, shape, or form that takes with giants. Beyond that, he leaves a significant garrison at the dam. That is, after all, a very important site to him, and not one that should ever really be, left. Splitting the host in two as he goes to gather reinforcements.
I'm sure the hierarchy will enjoy his return.
Yeah,
With zero dragons.
Zero dragons, zero revenge, tales of hit and run tactics in a valley full of mud, and important, very important.
It'd be a shame if they sent a rock to check on that and the dam is any longer.
That would be a shame, but he left a bunch of giants there. It'll be fine.
Be fine.
It'll be fine.
I presume he's taking the oracles with him.
One of them.
Okay.
He leaves one as the in control of the dam. Much as it pains him, but
Right. What if the gods change their mind?
now he can never be really sure.
The struggle is real.
Mm-hmm. He just hates all this bad communication.
Just interference, that's all.
Yeah.
Simple interference, nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing to see.
All right. We doing this thing at the Fane. Woo! Party.
Dragon party.
Is that the next thing? I mean, the dragons have obviously been invited.
Yeah.
Ahead of time.
Yeah.
Why do you sound so about that?
To get together.
It's because there's the option just not to come.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Zure will begrudgingly go. The insult's still fresh in her mind.
Fair six will
It's
go.
not the first one Valigna has given her. People pay for it. I'm gonna make an ass out of you at your own party. Embarrass you in front of everyone. This dragon doesn't know anything he's talking about.
Like a true sibling.
I'll I'll hit on everyone.
Oh no. What do you even do when a dragon hits on you?
I'll wear provocative clothes.
The Mandarin showing up in clothes. What do you say? I don't know. You. And we'll need. Good.
And so you've arrived.
Fashionably late.
Yeah.
Had to do my dragon makeup.
No.
Have like one of those like pixies like powder my nose.
You have like a blush on your scales.
Put some eyeliner on.
Oh,
A mud mask.
Little sprites are like there between her teeth, like scrubbing at him.
Singing a song like some Disney princess.
She's looking like in a reflection, staring at herself. Though I think the animals that congregate around her are not quite the Disney princess animals.
Yeah, not quite.
Not quite friendly birds chirping to like lay the shawl over her shoulders.
Let's get use again. The dragon. It's a big map, but it is for dragons, so
yeah.
you know.
It's like the thing you encounter in a video game where you see the map detail and you're like, we're fighting here later, aren't we? Look at all like the stacked crates, the opportunities for cover. Like, yeah, we're fighting here. Knew it.
Yeah. Let me just review. Yeah, I think that's good.
It's a couple of people, all right.
Yep. Thankfully, Snoot never like intercepted a message, so they all went to where you intended them to.
Who knows who would have shown up if they hadn't interfered?
Like all the various entrances. It's like the respective parties. I don't want to be standing out here in the center. This is your thing.
I imagine as people sort of trickle in, probably via the like peculiar, no, not peculiar, perhaps. What's the word? Precarious. That's the word. Precarious, like staircase, stairway path that Malignant had the dwarves make, so the Fane could be reached from that side of the mountain. He'll mostly just sit on the big platform and just look ominous.
like little dwarves with bow ties going around serving refreshments.
Yeah, the
See that.
dwarves would certainly do something along those lines. Maybe not dressed in bow ties, but they're usual.
Bow ties
Oh.
and nothing else.
Oh wow.
I mean, that's not exactly the message I'm trying to convey here.
You're not trying to build a sex cult? Damn it.
No, that's a Veristrix thing.
Yeah.
It is somewhere.
Hooger.
Oh wow. All right.
If you just told me that was what you were doing with the spell star.
I can't give all my secrets away.
Cougar.
Mhm.
Damn it, Manikai.
But yeah, the dwarves would be like showing people around. Perhaps there will be like a few rooms that the different groups can claim to like have a place to rest and such. This is certainly not going to be like a 2-hour affair. Like this is a party in Dragon Time. This is going to take a few days. What Leibniz basically wants to do as people Dragonland is gauge their reactions, see if anyone of them actually approach them, how they interact with things, and just generally observe before doing anything, really. Perhaps try to gauge what people are expecting. He certainly made sure that his message, his invitation to them was lacking of information, to say the least. Although, perhaps a bit ominous, perhaps full of promise. And that at least goes for all the like humanoid visitors. He does want to talk to office derelicts like privately and directly once he arrives.
Yeah. I mean, the lizard folk have arrived. The Sun Seekers, as it were. Other lizard folk might have been invited, but they seem to avoid going to the surface, really, whenever possible. Yeah, they have managed to get here. Again, the tokens here are not all representative of the numbers. It's just you don't want an idea of who is really. They all seem to discuss things with each other, being amicable and guarded towards one another with their own opinions. The Dwarven clan, they're playing hosts mostly. Show people their rooms, making sure that they're present so that no one thinks they can get away with any shenanigans or anything like that. And Hysterelix will appear and sort of try to sit in such a way that if anyone looks at him, the sun will get in their eyes and it'd be slightly annoying as the couple glints of his scales very polished scales will sort of kind of like if you're sitting with your wristwatch and reflecting someone into their eyes, sort of what he's doing. But certainly, as people settle in, Benignath has their attention. So do the other dragons, really. I mean, there's 4 of them here.
Attention is good. He, however, does want to really make them wait for a bit, unless they actually approach him. His imminent concern
They
is
seem to
on
have the idea of something that will, they're waiting for something to start, basically.
Yeah, they can wait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his imminent concern is on the copper dragon.
Mm-hmm. He's sitting up there, seemingly laying sort of at the edge, contented in the sun. On his back, though, sits the gnome.
That damn Toddlemus.
Once perhaps was thought that he might have been the dragon. Technically, still a bit true. He could be like a puppet or something, but they're certainly both here. Sometimes the gnome seems to speak, and the Visterix sort of listens and nods and mumbles something back. They seem to sort of comment on each other on the whole situation, pointing and sort of, chuckling to each other.
All right. As Vilignov approaches the copper, he'll sort of signal over to Veritex and perhaps even to Amy, despite her being asleep apparently. That he should watch his back, pay attention, because he's not entirely sure how this is going to turn out.
Well,
So he should probably be at full health.
oh,
I don't know if that's going to be relevant, but I hope not.
You didn't collect all these people here to kill him in like one big swoop.
secret cage match that we weren't aware of.
Gonna strike the social out of the social encounter.
Turns out they all met beforehand and agreed.
Yeah. Lighting.
We'll saunter up to the copper.
Mhm.
Not really saying much as he approaches. Sitting down in front of him.
Tuttle missed. The copper sort of is slightly on his side, laying at the edge, basically up above. Valignus to look up at him as Tuttle missed sort of peer over the side of the dragon, holding on to his sort of back to not fall over, as he will give Valignus a very bright smile and say, "Oh, it is so exciting to be here. I'm just so happy to be invited. Thank you so much for considering me." Oh, and I brought a Visterix. I hope that's okay.
Certainly. Would you leave us for a little bit?
Sort of looks a little bit. Oh, I mean, the dragon. Visterix turns and looks to Valignus. He'll sort of move his tail to lift up the gnome and sort of put him over here, like over there.
Then Valignov language is making it very clear that he really does want to talk between peers, perhaps, and not do any of these dominant shenanigans that the copper is trying here.
Mm-hmm. No, the copper dragon knows it's older than him.
It's good enough.
They all have their opinions. Yeah, he sort of does the thing where he side glance looks at Valignus with one eye.
I figured I'd invite you and yours, since you would have sent spies anyways. That said, however, I was genuine in inviting at least your personage to this meeting, as I have not only one offer, but two offers that I would suggest you consider very carefully, as they will form our future relationship. When we last talked, there were many open questions that I have since then answered. You don't need to explain anything anymore, really. I know what you're all about. I know your predicament. I know your search for an answer, and I believe that you think you found one.
He sort of, without saying anything, looks back at Tuttlemist, a slightly disappointed look, before looking back to Valignus. It's clear that he's paying attention now, though still hasn't decided to say anything about it.
I believe I may have an opportunity, an offer, a suggestion that will please both of you more than whatever Basarek might have been able to offer. He is not the only source of a solution.
So I would trade one devil for another, then.
Not exactly. I have no interest in being anything like a devil. I'm not one for trading favors as harshly as devilkind may want it. In fact, my only interest is in, perhaps paradoxically, involving you in my affairs. The simple reason is that I'm not exactly happy with the happenstances of most things, really. But I am also myself not in a position to both be the judge over all of them, nor the caretaker of whatever is left after I'm done with the world. I need people in place to enforce their will on the places they claim, so they don't once again turn to this savagery that we currently have. What I am therefore offering is to not only help you, but then also accept you as, well, as you are right now. You most definitely have claimed certain territories, or may want to claim certain territories, or places, or contents thereof, and you shall govern over them.
Sort of peers it with like nods, says, I want the library. I want not just it, but all of its contents.
I'm very much aware. Of course, there's a shared interest, as the three of us also have an interest in its contents, but I'm sure something can be arranged.
Yeah, okay. Sort of just perhaps it can. I am not without interest in your own plights. It seems that you have somehow found out about mine. And so how do you propose we solve this little?
Well, before I can truly answer that, I need to know more about your relationship. If you two are completely opposed to each other, there may be a problem. However, if there can be something that results in both of you benefiting, then that would be the solution I would go for.
Could you give me a diplomacy check?
Sure. Perhaps Velignov trying to be a bit ominous here, having information that the Copper Dragon may not be entirely sure how he got to it.
Copper Dragon's trying
As
to speak without revealing too much.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Velignov will, he'll do Intimidate instead. If he
Oh,
knows this, what else does he know?
well, okay. Try the stick. All right.
He's suggesting he has powers perhaps far beyond what the Copper here is expecting. 29.
That's pretty good.
The ominous dragon smile as he makes his offer.
Beyond that, the Copper Dragon really is not the greatest at actually keeping secrets. As sort of slowly, it seems like he likes to talk about it, though he somehow feels that he shouldn't, and that somehow delights him. Well, it really is rather simple, isn't it? We used to be, well, so there would be two ways to look at it. There would be the right way, and then there would be his way. As the right way goes, I would have been, a rival, perhaps, a threat, existential in nature. In his way, I would have been a very annoying pest that refused to leave him alone.
That's as much as I expected.
Truth to be told, though, he was bigger than me, and so there's something exciting about it, isn't there? I mean, you must understand because you're doing it right now. The whole sort of keep being next to bigger dragons than yourself, more important and more powerful dragons.
Mm,
He wouldn't appreciate.
Despite the perceived difference in power, it appears I have ways to do things that you do not.
He nods. It would seem so. As he glances back at Toddlemist again, still disapproving of Toddlemist speaking. Irregardless, I really would like this problem solved. Much as I have delighted in the relationship, I am finding it a bit too attached.
Well, lucky for you and lucky for him, I've got a good solution for both of you and a good place in my world, too.
So nods. Well, then
He,
I'm listening.
he, how much would he be able to participate in the conversation?
Oh, that's the best part. He cannot at all.
But he is aware?
I think just aware. Yes, I can certainly feel his emotions.
Well, then you can think really hard that I too want to solve his predicament.
You see, I don't really care about his predicament. In fact, I have enjoyed this relationship for. Just seems to think I'm not really sure how long. It was very painful to acquire it, but I have had a lot of delight in just, you know, I mean, he's aware of what I'm doing and he disapproves of pretty much all of it, and that is very entertaining.
Well, clearly it still provides some discomfort considering you're trying to solve this, rather than enjoy it.
I was not aware of the implications, but yes. Anyway,
So, to be more to the point, perhaps, I have been associating with a very powerful figure, one you would call her divine. I'm not entirely sure whether all of our kind respects her as much as the chromatic kind of us do. Surely you know who I'm talking about.
I mean, you're trying to make yourself clear. He's pretty good at
Yes.
reading people, and so he'll sort of look, and nod.
She is a source of power, inspiration, and guidance for certain ambitions. She also bestows power upon those who might attempt to please her. A power that I can and will use to assist you in your troubles by taking him out of you and putting him into someone else.
And what is the price of this?
There's no price attached really other than you agreeing to cooperate.
Oh, but that is much better than killing all of you. Should have nods.
I suppose it would be. Another part of the price, of course, is that you tell me what you discussed with Bastarak exactly and in detail.
Yes, it is as well. I suppose we'll see how I feel about that when we're done.
I don't think you quite understand how transactions work.
Yes. Well, if I agree to tell you first, then I would have nothing you wanted.
I'm trying really hard to include you. I'm trying really hard to help you, which is an odd feeling to say the least, but there are benefits. Quite frankly, I'm not entirely interested in you as much as I am interested in him. So perhaps you should stop pushing your luck here.
He is very interesting, I can tell you that much.
I'm sure he is. Now, you tell me, and I'll help you. How about that?
And you're sure you can?
I'm absolutely certain I can. For you to question my abilities, quite frankly, hurts.
Well, you're as small as I was once, and when I was that small, I was pretty useless at most things.
That seems like a personal issue.
Perhaps. But anyway, you see, what I found was that your mother expected you to go and investigate a lot of places, and in some of those places, she left stuff behind for you to find. Sort of bursts it out as if he's wanted to say it for a while.
I believe you've mentioned something like that before.
Yes. Now it was some paltry things, just money and magic and such. I took care of that. Don't worry about that. But there was other thing, like a message.
A message intended for us that you stole.
Oh, I think it simply allowed me to hear it, since I'm a dragon too, and well, you know why. So really, maybe it was also intended for me, but probably not.
Just to avoid the awkward silence from me here, Velignif is not gonna do the whole and then. He's just gonna stay there quiet until the Copper Dragon speaks his mind.
Hmm. The Cobra Dragon doesn't seem to like that.
Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, I will assume you know the whole story and not bother you with it.
He frowns. No, please. Tell.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay, you do want to know.
Yes.
So, all right, but you'll help me with my predicament then, and you'll do this because you want to help. It seems so unlike you.
I'm trying to build a certain structure that in the end will solve my predicament. But for that, I am not good at structures, hence why I need other people to do it for me.
I'm very good at structure.
I instead will pave the way, so to speak. Problems are solved, so you can look outside into the world and pursue ambitions that in the end will mean that you, nicely partitioned, have some sort of territory that I no longer need to worry about.
Well, that sounds that sounds pretty fine, honestly. If we get rid of the boring people, then there'll just be interesting people in them. And that sounds like a great idea. Though it does worry me a little bit that I think he wants me to help you too, which makes me sort of not want.
I expected he would be interested.
Pretty desperate at this point, really.
As are you, I take it.
Well, you see, I have this idea that being free is much better than being bound. No offense, of course.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. It is part of the motivation why I do what I do.
So, what exactly do you want?
I
I can
still
tell you
want you to
something,
tell
and
me.
then after this is done, we can talk about all of it. I won't be conflicted then.
Tina lets out like a long sigh. All right, I suppose you want a certain show of trust, and in the end, just as you think you could destroy me if I don't do exactly what you enjoy, I happen to think the same. We are awfully alike in that regard.
Perhaps.
I will have to
People ever
arrange.
tell you you're too reckless?
Yes. Yes, they do.
It's quite annoying, isn't it?
It's sometimes awfully true.
Sort of pause a little bit, and then he nods slightly. His tongue sort of playing over his wounded face. Yes, I suppose. It doesn't make it any less annoying to hear, though.
In that case, right now I need you to stay here, be here, and don't be too disruptive while I arrange for a proper vessel for him After which, we'll get to the point.
I'm sure it won't take that long. I'm
Uh,
very good at being patient.
I'm sure you are.
Me dragons live forever, so a couple minutes should be fine.
It might take more than a couple minutes.
He shrugs. He looks much more interested now.
All right. We'll hop off. It went okay, although the Commodore still didn't answer like any questions whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll like go more center stage and wait for nightfall because fire looks much nicer when it's dark.
He arranged it so it was evening already. Sure. We can wait for nightfall.
Dragons are patient, If it takes an hour or 3 of waiting just to get a better dramatic effect, then damn it, yes.
I'm just playing pin the dragon tail as they wait, like
Uh,
for the pointed hour.
Villeneuve sort of wants the like people who came here to get impatient, to get a bit nervous, perhaps.
Oh, there's a nervous sort of hush over the whole thing. Nobody really wants to break the silence because no one's really sure how to behave.
That is perfect.
Well, their attitudes are somewhat different. Esperante over here is sort of he's looking at things with a smug smile, knowing too much of what's going to happen as he rubs his hands together. It's going to be very profitable to be here, quite clearly. Soren here is much more open-minded. He speaks to his people. Seems a little impatient. He expected there to be more going on here, really. It's taking a while at this point. Potka over here is cowed a bit. He's watching out, keeping an eye mostly on the others. While the Wilhelm over here. Guards also seem, well, so they might look like just humans, right? But they certainly seem more swashbuckling than the others do. Word.
All right. In that case, nightfall probably approaches at some point. I don't think any of them dare to just leave out of boredom.
Yeah.
In which case, Villigna will start the show by making the fire suddenly burst a good bit higher, illuminating the darkened platform. Before he'll take a few steps forward. Sitting down again, waiting another minute or so, Yes, he has to make a point that he's not reckless, and he'll do that by waiting pointlessly. Before he'll do like a sweeping glance over the gathered people and say, "Come closer. I don't want to talk and have to talk so loudly just because you're afraid. If you were truly afraid, you wouldn't have come here. Or perhaps it is your desires that have overcome your fear, which is acceptable as well." He'll speak in common, of course. I expect that before me and to my sides, I see 4 different groups of people. As leaders among you, I'm sure, followers, skeptics, and probably the odd spy as well. Although, I'm willing to offer something to all of you, really. To some, it's an offer, obviously, you expect as much, and to the others, perhaps a warning, announcement of sorts. When I saw this world for the first time, not too incredibly long ago, I was uncertain of how to proceed, unguided in a sense. unsure where to put my energy. That has since then changed, but I've come to realize that the things I do leave a lot of space. Space that should be filled. A lot of that space will, of course, go to my kin. But even beneath them, there's vacuums, opportunities, both for profit and power, obviously. The world is full of little knots of structure that seems to be not only in conflict with itself, but the world as a whole, really. Look at Elm, for example, as it has been until recently. Perhaps not all of you are aware of the kind of cesspool of charming fey magic that enslaved its people there that it was exactly. It was a trap disguised as a paradise. That, of course, has been resolved. To the south, perhaps again you're not aware, giants still live in their decrepit hierarchies, sitting on top of thrones that have started eroding as much as they have over the centuries, thinking themselves still the rulers of the world, even though their time has long since gone. They are as ruined as the ruins that reside in this very valley here, of other civilizations that have come and gone and left their debris that needs to be cleared away to make space for better things. I'm not going to be the one who makes those better things. I'm going to be the wave, the metaphors aside. I will be the one who breaks those structures, pushes them aside to make space for new things. New things that I obviously want to benefit from. Perhaps the smart under you can understand the direction I'm going here. There's, of course, also the consideration that not every structure that exists is one that needs to be removed. Some are acceptable, some can be used. And I will not be the judge of what exactly remains. No, those decisions will fall to my kin. What they claim remains. The rest, I'm either going to find someone for or remove. So among you, I'm looking for those who want to follow my wake. Because those in front of it will not enjoy that very much, to say the least. So what you can take away from this is that you either, over the coming days, make a decision whether to stand behind me and profit, or stand in front of me and perish. You've made the first step by coming to my attention and accepting this invitation, which puts you far ahead of the rest. But there's still obviously one more official step to take.
Yeah, I mean, they listen and they're mostly quiet. No one really wanted to interrupt the dragon.
I don't expect an answer right this second, obviously. Rooms have been prepared for you to stay. If you leave without giving me an answer, you are most certainly allowed to, but I'll take that as a no and act accordingly eventually. Feel free to approach me at If you have questions or want a more personal touch, perhaps as a side note, among the currently present, I'm looking for someone very special to bestow an honor that is beyond what a human or equivalent mind could even dream of at this second. A sort of authority, perhaps.
One of the humans steps forward, as if to, have a question or.
Yeah, Malignaful turn both his eyes towards him.
Sort of is looking up at the dragon, somewhat intimidated, but sort of in a he feels afraid, but he's standing up to his own fear,
Good.
sort of way, as you'll say. So you're telling us, Master Dragon, that you wish to either take over or destroy everything in the world?
It may seem outrageous at first glance. I won't be offended at the skepticism. But do consider that I will have 1,000 years and another 1,000 years and perhaps many more 1,000 years to accomplish what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is not something I will start tomorrow and finish the day after. It'll be. Metaphors are difficult. Let's not do metaphors. I hate complicated. It'll be a long-term process.
And where do you propose to start?
Perhaps my exact plans are best reserved for those who are willing to follow me.
Hmm.
I hope accomplishment that would be visible to your people. And perhaps you should not consider the unified front of multiple dragons that is arranged in front of you to be something ordinary.
The man shakes his head and says, "No, certainly not. I think most of the Dragon Coast is fearing for their lives these days. And another question, Master Dragon, if you will permit it. What of Cormier? They had called their protection of Elm, and with the confirmation that you yourself stood behind its burning, as the rumors said, do you not think they will retaliate? The kingdom to the north hold much sway, armies, mages, and
Oh,
will you stand against them and protect those who might join you?
I most definitely expect them to retaliate. I also expect any potential followers to not be as. I don't want to be too offending, perhaps. Those who follow me do not need to wear capes with my face on it. Cormier does not need to know of our arrangement. The things that happen may just seem to be a happenstance to them that goes in my favor. I will not need you to march beside me when I go on my crusade, unless you want to.
Yes. We'll step back in line.
As far as I gather, you are merchants or something along the sort. I'm not asking you to abandon your profession, I'm asking you to use it for my benefit. You should be able to do that. And in the end, it will be for your benefit too.
The rest of them seem more confident in speaking, sort of on a dragon to person basis than in front of everyone.
All right.
The dwarves, I mean, they're here really. They're hosts. They're not really going to. They don't feel the need to really be involved because they are at this point. But he did what he promised, and they have faith in that he'll continue to do that. Beyond that, the various groups probably each want to speak to the dragon, or dragons, if need be.
Yeah, well, first of all, return to his siblings over there to get them involved too, and basically just say, he expected them to want to talk to him in person, but he wants to involve the two of them as well. Just, either to just be there or be involved if they like to. Like, this is not some narcissistic competition that Velenov has made to show how awesome he is and how side-pieced his kin are here. No, this is supposed to be like a group thing that they might benefit from as well.
All right. Rishix will present himself. He will be presentable for those who wish to approach him. Skive off in the corner. Yeah.
And then, Velenov will be available.
Oh.
He'll coincidentally position himself near the sleeping Emmy.
Any conversation?
All right. If he just waits for turns.
Yeah. Sort of wants to see who comes first, really.
Move in front. Go up and then maybe in front of both the dragons, And we'll sort of do his do like a deep bow. He looks up. Mighty creatures, mighty dragons. I am overjoyed to meet you. I am Esperante de Viora, merchant of Tessier, on the Merchant Council, in fact. Councilment de Viora is acceptable.
You need to know that for me to remember your name is one of the greatest honors I will bestow on mortals.
And you were speaking of a great honor, mighty dragon, something most could not understand. His fingers sort of excitedly move, grasps his own hand. And I must say that such a thing, well, I would humbly place myself, of course, foremost amongst those deserving of any such a thing.
The fact that you are the first to approach me certainly speaks in your favor. The fact that you want to accept it before knowing what it is speaks against you. I do not need a reckless sycophant. I need someone smart.
Oh, but I am smart, mighty dragon, too smart to suggest that what you call an honor would be anything but that.
All right. Good answer.
Verishix is looking past him to his retinue here.
Mm-hmm.
Who are these people? Like, what are they? What's their body language? What they doing?
They're sort of huddled together. They're wearing really fine sort of silken robes. Though basically free of color. It's sort of in a grays and browns and clearly he's meant to be sort of the ostentatious visible one, while they're sort of here to sort of to wait on him.
Right.
Though they do move ominously, sort of almost stuntedly.
So, tell me, you, other than honeyed words and a fancy title, what do you have to offer?
the skills of a most excellent merchant lord. These others, just behind them, they come from cities that are worthless or at worst pirates. No, you need someone who is willing to do whatever it takes to get ahead. Someone who can operate under the eyes of any inspecting form, not wearing a cape, as you say. Someone who is not afraid to get their hands dirty to make the world as it should be. That is what I can offer. But I'm sure in time, even should I start low on your rung, I would quickly earn my way to the top of it. I have been said to have a draconian mind.
William sort of look at him as if expecting something more. Sort of glancing over to his servants.
Sort of waits just a bit. Perhaps
William wants to make him uncomfortable here, as if to heavily suggest that he has forgotten something, just to see how he reacts mostly.
sort of a small bag is brought forth. He'll step over and really ready to hand it to one of the dragons, but not sure who would be, which dragon is. But he'll just go for Velignith,
William nods slightly, as that was the right answer, before he says, neither of us are the right.
Bit of tribute from Tessir, Lord Dragon. A small investment, I'm sure, will return to us many times in the future.
That is very good, but neither of us are the right creature to receive it. In this place, another presence deserves all the wealth that enters this place. You can go below and put it at the shrine. I will come find you should I need anything more.
This way. I can show you the way.
Looking for gesture over to the copper. Not entirely sure if that's a good idea.
Looks at the copper dragon, looks back, and then sort of nods. So, I'll take you on a ride.
So Villic will gesture over to one of the dwarfs to follow them to make sure they don't do anything silly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Verstrix will to Velignith and say, that is a man who has many whispers in his ears. I would be wary of him. It's cunning.
He seems to me as if he thinks he is far more than he actually is.
Oh, but don't all men scoffs?
A certain type of arrogance is preferred, but not this one.
Nuts.
Then William will wait for the next group.
Sure.
This
Next group looks rugged. He's the kind of guy who wears several daggers in several leather straps, sort of distributed well across the body, so there's always one within reach. Beyond that, small flasks in his belt suggest that there's poison with him. Not visible to most, but dragons are not the worst spotting these things these days. Pretty good perception. She'll step up, sort of wearing leather boots and such. No hat, though. She will look to dragons, nod to each of them. No bow from him. So, I was told there would be promises of plunder or wealth in some manner. I'm here to receive it, or at least to hear the plans for doing so.
I've yet to decide whether your confidence is confidence or arrogance. Both, perhaps.
A little bit of both, yes. I am a captain out of Westgate. I do variety merchanting, repurposing. That by itself should tell you what you need to know about my competence.
I understand. If you're looking for detailed plans to benefit from, you are hasty.
I don't need to know detail. I was hoping to know the sort of figures. You speak of conquest of the world in 1,000 years, yet that holds very little concrete sway right now. I will live to be, well, maybe 20 more years if I'm lucky. I would like at least half of those to be in luxury.
That does bring a slight ominous smile to Valignov. A realist. Someone who knows where his ambitions lead him. With deadlines. I can appreciate those qualities. If you wish to know something to be excited about, my gaze does not direct itself yet at the civilized lands, but to the south. There are the giants. They have recently begun pointless incursions into what we consider our territory, bringing with them a fraction of the wealth that they undoubtedly have in their decrepit vaults in the mountains. There are luxuries abound. If there's enough wealth to satisfy me for a time, be sure that it is enough to make you live in luxury as well as your children if you intend to procreate for their entire life. There are certain activities that I would need to have done in that direction. They would be more direct than what I suggested in my little speech, as they are also rather short term. So if you're looking for wealth, there are opportunities.
Yeah, let's look at that. Just like this. Now, I hope you're not taking me for an adventurer. I hope to actually live to enjoy the wealth I gain. I don't come cheap, but what I do, I'm very good at. That is what I can do for you. I would assume you feel the same way. Your kind is known for power and honestly for success. I don't promise this lightly. Yeah, I think we can do business. Fighting a giant certainly is not something I'm eager to do.
I, on the other hand, am very eager. A word of warning, however, if this is supposed to work between us, you should work on your choice of behavior and words in our presence. You know a little bit about. It is not about being called anything in particular. It is your mannerisms, your obvious defiance for its own sake. You want to be rich, then do what's required.
He bows very deeply.
It's a good start. I've heard you, you've heard me. I suggest you make space for the others.
Sure, we'll do that.
From sycophant to the exact opposite.
Podfront
Yes,
comes
but
over,
that man
walking
can be
bent-
molded.
Perhaps.
walking bent forward, as he does. Mighty dragons, I have come as was requested, and I hope to offer my services in the future, as was done in the past. I have already enjoyed much favor. She looks like this, and I would most certainly hope for that to continue. These others, they do not know our association, but perhaps they might have to, if this continues. I simply am here to offer my appreciation and admiration, and to leave this. She would
Looking
place
forward.
it.
Do the same spiel as before. That neither Vertex nor him are the creatures to accept that here, and that it has to go to the shrine below.
A shrine? Oh, no, such an honor. Yes, of course. Of course.
Not right now. Of
Oh.
course.
Okay, yes, as you say. Quickly, hold it. Like as if it's their fault that he took it from them.
Just tell me, what's the benefit of the others knowing of our existing cooperation, as you put it, in your mind?
I would hope that the people we find are as intelligent as they appear, and that we could induct them into our ranks, strengthen them, and increase our influence upon more of the Dragon Coast. Elversalt is isolated, and there are enemies in the shadows of our organization. I was hoping that more influential members would increase our reach. Many join simply because of the benefits they gain by being members. If those benefits grew, our numbers would as well. Selectively, of course. If everyone's a member, that defeats the purpose.
If not, slightly.
Perhaps even, mighty dragons, if caravans of rivals were to be destroyed or found, raided, or burnt, that might encourage people to seek protection. Something that we perhaps uniquely can offer.
A good plan, although I'm not entirely sure whether I'll find the time.
No.
I don't think I need to ask you what you can offer. You've already not only shown it, but also, as you've said yourself, we have had association before.
Yes, and I will say that I'll be the first to say that it was most profitable. Though there are some in our organization who would look northwards for patron instead. It is something perhaps to speak of at another time.
No, I think it is time to speak of it now.
Oh, very well. There are some who believe that a dragon of patronage lives in the Dragonmere. It claims tithing for ships going through, and, well, they believe that if we offered it proper tribute, we could perhaps earn an exception from such tithing, and perhaps even support it in ways as we have you. I, of course, believe that, well, you are the superior being, and so if such a being was to be part of our organization, it would have to be under you, of course.
In terms of the relationship with that one of my kin, I have two potential solutions. He will either die or he will, as you say, cooperate. I would prefer the latter, as much as my instinct drives me to do the former. Perhaps that is a project you can think about. It would certainly solidify your position in my ranks.
I shall try, though a solution is hard to come by. Serving two masters seems more difficult. Of course, perhaps he could be convinced to destroy caravans of our rivals, but in return he might well consider himself our master.
I expect so. I don't think cooperation will work out with him, although there are some ideas I need to pursue. You've certainly done well, and you, I think, are among the top contenders about the reward I have prepared for whoever seems most promising to me.
As well, I would accept a reward graciously, of course. Now, just bows again. Now, this shrine.
You will have to wait for the dwarves to return from their escort of the Copper Dragon.
Very well then. So, buying once more.
Eager, huh?
He was useful before. His ideas are sound. His position makes him valuable, I think. If he were to be, let's call it blessed with the intellect that the Copper Dragon currently carries, he might actually be able to solve that problem with the other dragon.
Be of the same mind to think the same. So far, he seems the most capable.
I don't know about that. Perhaps.
Guys. On next to Billy. Well, so he'll walk up. Dressed a bit differently. Clearly a cultural difference from the others. He's not dressed as foppishly, really, as the other merchants. More of a sort of a clear sign of adventuring in this one. Practical clothes, practical weaponry, capable companions. A traveler, sure. Forward, do a flourishing bow. Say, Dragon Lords, I have considered your proposal, and I would most certainly like to be privy to any further plans. If that takes being part of this endeavor, then I suppose I will have to do that. It is not an easy decision, but one that must be made. Oh, I am, they call me Soren Silkhands, for my smooth hands. He sort of holds them up. Quite a masseuse in my day. Anyway, I am from the Sword Coast, a place far from here. I have taken many a caravan through the savage frontier.
I believe you're the first one to think about my offer critically.
Oh, it is a dangerous endeavor, it would seem, and a grand one to conquer the world for evil, for dragonkind.
My ambitions are certainly selfish, but that should surprise no one.
Exactly. It certainly doesn't.
I put a lot of value in someone who can speak directly and honestly. there's something else I put a lot of value in. He sort of like tilts his head, suggesting that, he expects a response.
This is. Yes.
Mm, surely you've arrived here with something more than just words.
Seems like his face sort of pales a little bit from his. Of course, yes. Companions, the gifts. As they sort of look at each other, and say, "Fetch the gifts. Thoughtless of me. We should have brought them right here." There's two of them sort of go over to their stuff.
Uh,
Of course, I'm very sorry, but we didn't know where to leave them. So
Now,
come back with what seems to be like a bag, like a leather bag of stuff.
it's good. Like stuff.
A collection of mementos from my travels. Things of value from various cities and places. Fine dagger, for example. Oil for sensual, smooth hand massages. Other great, treasures of the road.
That seems acceptable. But yeah, once again, wait for the dwarfs.
Dwarfs, yes, of course. And when is the next meeting?
I think you're allowed to approach me whenever I don't seem particularly busy. There are rooms prepared for you. I expect that you either make your decision quickly or make use of them. I am not in a particular hurry to hear an answer, so if you wish to continue being critical about the direction you want to go in, do feel free.
Yes, I just want to make sure that I don't lose the opportunity, or that I'm not, that if I become sort of the too critical one, where I don't get to be privy to what happens next.
There's, of course, the consideration that those who are more eager might please me a little bit more. Although those who are too eager might be disappointing indeed. So your decision when to approach me next might play into a whole lot of things. Isn't that exciting?
Well, if you have anything to ask me of, do feel free. I will stay here for a bit at least. Business is a slow one, after all. Just want to wait for others.
Let's see, what was his name? Sora. Need to make notes.
He's good with his hands. Well, it's a weird set of skills to have, but alright.
Don't you wish you were good with your hands?
Growth, I'm not going to give you an answer to that question.
Therastrix wishes desperately in hands. How can I give massages with these claws?
Yeah.
Cougar.
Oh, wow. That.
Lastly, a very sort of almost uncomfortable lizard come up. Yes, he will stand tall and look Malignant in the eyes, and then sort of visibly look down to his feet. What Varistrix would know is the lizard way of showing respect. They don't really do bowing. It's not really, Varistrix spent quite a lot of time down there after all at this point. sort of gets some of their cultural weirdness.
Alright.
The other side of it says, I do not know why I have been invited here. Your message, it is grand. Grander than us. Grander than the things we concern ourselves with. Yet, you supported our strike. And you have stated more could be gained. Our tribe was always rich. We could capture humans, others could not. Perhaps there could be some cooperation. She looks, his tail flicks slightly. Yes, he looks at all the humans out there.
I expected some confusion on your part. My message was mostly directed at the humans. And Malignant will switch to Draconic. That's probably easier for the lizard folk than common.
Yeah.
See, it says, still, the thought that there are opportunities for you to profit while assisting in my plans still stands. I mentioned there may be positions that are suitable for you. I do not believe that. Pauses slightly. I believe you've already made contact with one of my kin before I met you.
Skithok nods.
You've
Yes.
certainly seen what I can offer you, as you're wearing something I've made, something I would be willing to produce more of.
Pats the plate. It cost many lives to gain this. Much wealth was exchanged.
But I can't help but notice the intrepid attention of something behind me. Something that is unusual, as none of the humans have evoked that response. Sort of slowly turns around, like leaning around with his long neck.
She's awake. Has her eyes open. We're still like peering around Valignith, though stops and like looks up at Valignith.
These lizard folk attract your attention?
Yep.
Why?
I like them.
Pauses. They're like, just step aside slightly and gesture the lizard folk to speak to Emmy instead.
Malignith will then go here. He's a shaman. They'll go here. Still not entirely sure what they're doing here, but they're invited. He too will show his respect to Mizrahi.
Mm-hmm. Mizrahi isn't entirely sure what the lizard folk are doing here either. But, Valignith's plans, who knows? He doesn't like complicated. Everyone gets an invitation. Just looks at Skull's log. Says, how many did you end up taking from Elm?
The folk almost like smiles. More than our number by far.
She nods. Good. I'm glad you
can see the light of day.
I am glad you seized on the opportunity.
It was time. We could not have waited much longer. However, it did prove beneficial. The timing was suspiciously convenient.
Yes. Your vengeance. Do you feel sated?
He nods. Their village is burned and broken as ours was. I have no more need for vengeance. However, I do not know of what need I have now. I have steel, pat the armor. I have skill, and I have some who are willing to follow.
Hmm.
I am without purpose.
Hmm.
My gods tell me to procreate, to prosper. Yet I have given such things away to avenge my tribe.
Hmm.
Perhaps I shall wander the land. Perhaps hunt more humans for the deep.
Several 10 days ago, I had offered you opportunity. You declined out of a need to pursue this vengeance. Now that your vengeance is sated, you lack purpose. Yet, we dragons, still around to offer you said opportunity.
He nods. And what would you wish of me?
You enjoy the steel you wear, and you enjoy a good battle, yes?
He nods. Yes.
Well, in times near and far, we will certainly desire someone who wears the steel you wear so well and fights with the tenacity that you do. And along the way, there will be profit, sure, for you to have, and as your gods desire, a chance to procreate, though perhaps not with the tribe you lost. Perhaps a new one you can forge.
He seems to sort of be quiet for a bit at that suggestion.
She presses on, after all. You are the strongest lizard folk I have seen. Who better to begin with than you?
We would need behemoths, beasts to carry us.
Looks over at Valignus, looks back, says, Behemoths can be done.
Yeah, I think at that point he just sort of nods as your shaman moves up, effectively showing his support for his chief. Skeothok, yeah, sort of, we'll just nod. We find it an agreeable proposition, then. We will fight. We will gain beasts. And perhaps a place to be. To grow something new.
Yes, you will. For that is also agreeable to me. She looks over at Valignus, figures her part's done.
Valigna figures their part is done.
All right. Then they can be over here, I guess.
All right. She like looks up at him, closes her eyes, puts her head back down.
Yeah. If they can have behemoths, and ideally behemoths clad in steel, then yeah. Might be the steel scale
We'll
tribe.
give them like the sickliest like of the behemoth. The runt.
Get some of those steppe rhinos.
A behemoth-like substance. Looks like behemoth. Smells like behemoth.
Yeah. Sterlix, returns eventually. As to the dwarves, and they'll continue to lead people around.
we lay here then, as the continued guidance occurs as people go deliver their tribute. Misere says, eyes closed. So, which one you like the most, Valignith?
So far, the lizard folk are certainly the easiest. As for the others, it depends whether you mean like as in find most useful or like as in find most probable to house the copper dragon's unwanted companion. I think those two things are very different.
She says, they are. I expect you enjoy the lizard folk because they are as you desire, uncomplicated, and there is no need to complicate them further.
Yes, exactly.
How
The
about
ambitions are
that?
easy.
How about that, the ones from Westgate? Those seem most fitting for your ends? At least the other ambitions that cannot be satisfied by the lizard folk.
They do seem, out of the four, the least complicated, the most honest, which is a quality that is useful. Their skills are implied, perhaps acceptable to be deployed sooner rather than long-term networks and all kinds of things that the others could provide. His
And
arrogance irks me.
it would make him a suitable match if you intend on divesting a black dragon out of someone. Leave him to be a corsair on the water, or whatever they do in Westgate.
Yes, perhaps. It would certainly remove his arrogance, or maybe exaggerate it further. Who knows? I was thinking about the merchant from Elversild mostly, however. It would mean that Black Dragon's mind would be close by, easy for us to monitor, potentially, anyways. And I do believe that he could potentially deal for us with that other Black Dragon up in the Dragonmere.
Your Podgar gear seems so malleable already. To
Yes.
deposit something else in him would undoubtedly change that.
It is true. I think you're right. The main issue, however, may be that the Westgate merchant's ambitions are limited to mere monetary gains, which would make it difficult for him to agree to the proposition. I need someone willing.
She says, he wants to enjoy the remaining years of his life. That power would certainly allow him to secure more of the wealth, that luxury he desires. And if he refuses the chance at power, well, that would certainly prove something to you.
It would mean I'd have to kill him.
Sort of like raises like her shoulders, eyes still closed, and says, well, considering how you find him the most arrogant of the lot and the least malleable.
Not necessarily the least malleable, as his ambitions are easy. Someone who can be purchased can be potentially useful.
You'd be offering him something no coin could buy him.
Perhaps I'll talk to him. Or, I have a better idea. Perhaps you talk to him.
She opens an eye, looks up at Malignant. Looks over at Veristrix. Come on. Veristrix, he couldn't possibly mean that.
Veristrix
You were listening the entire time.
Veristrix is playing the game of, if I just stand here and listen and not engage, perhaps I won't ever be asked to do anything. And so he lazily looks across the Emizar way and gives her a wink.
I mean, Sarah looks from some very restrictive like, why do you want me to talk to him? I didn't talk to him.
I'm talking to people because mostly I expected you wouldn't want to. But surely you realize that you are better with words than I am. It is
Yes.
also your suggestion to choose him.
She's frustrated, painted herself into a corner.
Yes.
She's like, she hates this. The sort of feeling where she feels like she volunteered herself for effort and she can't get out of it. She's like, I haven't said anything because this has been like you've involved us all in a group, but this is like your party effectively on behalf of Tiamat, and I don't really desire the whole upend the world in chaos like you do. So I haven't said anything. Polite. But do you want me to talk to the damn yeah, fine. She like stands up. Opens her eyes. Like stretches her neck. Like it cracks like her body. She's like, when? You want me to keep him waiting like everyone else is? You want me to go to him then? She like, look, it's night.
It is entirely up to you.
I'll do it in the morning. She lays back down.
Copper Dragon was a little disappointed he didn't get to snoop in and get the blanket.
The true sneak.
Laying there, watching, waiting.
Where did that blanket come from?
Nothing else, just so you could see
From-
what would happen when Emisari came back and found you sleeping on it.
Then she lays on top of him. That's probably what she would have done.
It's like bring your own towel to the beach, just lay down.
Well, clearly,
You
the
know-
blanket is a product of Velign's superior preparation.
Oh yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, I mean, why do now what you can do tomorrow morning? I think that's what she's gonna do. Like, it's nighttime.
Yeah.
It's not the right time. She'll leave all the humans and other critters to stew and mill about and think about what it could mean and maybe make other petitions to Velignus.
And do consider that I believe he is the only one who has yet to offer tribute.
Well, I mean, the lizard folk didn't.
The lizard folk are sort of exempt.
I figured.
They've already done something by helping us all down.
She lays back down. And she like pauses and then like I think like the words of everything, like the significance of it, like, wait, what am I offering him? You want to do what?
So, Officer Derelix over there has a particular issue.
Missouri like rotates her head, like finally acknowledging the Copper Dragon.
In a conflict with his Black Dragon rival, he somehow managed to not only defeat him, but also ingest his liquefied soul. Which now, ever since then, bothers him immensely.
That's a
Missouri
predicament.
squints her eyes at Ophisterelix.
Hmm.
So, in an effort to assist him in his plight, and also potentially make use of said Black Dragon soul, I require a vessel of some description, such that it is not wasted once I extract it.
Restrict shrugs and says, I see no reason why we shouldn't.
Did you know about this, Veristrix?
Restrix looks at Emizare and says, You think that I, of all people, could be surprised by this, given what I am currently in?
Yes.
Then no, I am not.
Huh.
Curiouser things have happened.
Looks back over the cover track.
Yeah, sensing that this is he's just laying here. It's not really that fun.
Mm-hmm.
He'll and as Emissary has decided not to leave the blanket for him to snatch, he will instead go do something else.
Talking about you over here.
Oh shit. He sort of like watches him walk off. Like looks up at Velignith and says, and this is going to help us in the process of getting access to the knowledge of Redensir so that we could resolve this Amath phone red.
Not only is it going to give us access to Redens here, it is going to secure, well, more or less secure, 2 allies in our continued. Well, I'll call it a fight because it is. It'll also solidify Tiamat's power base ever so slightly more.
Well,
We not only resolve a potential conflict, as the Copper Dragon has most definitely intended to previously kill us, because presumably Besserek offered him a way to resolve his issue as well, but it might also benefit us. So there's nothing not to like there, really.
I have
So the blunt. Go ahead.
I have but one question, and it's more of the intricacies than, well, plan itself. I assume you have the means to extract this soul from the dragon.
I am almost certain I do.
He tilts his head and
And
says,
Mizore says, basically immediately like blurts out, so the offer that is going to be made cannot be immediately done while they're all here.
I think it can be done. I know that I have the capabilities to do it. I am not entirely sure about the exact details, but I don't think I need to be.
Verishix looks like, in the fantasy sense, he is a man of science in his arcana, and that is just a horrifying sentence to him. It's like, I don't really know how to do, but I'm sure I don't need to know. Verishix looks very worried, but he doesn't say anything.
Mizore says, so I won't have any details when the one from Westgate asks what this might involve, and then I say,
It's going to involve the divine powers of the Queen of Dragons that will be channeled through my not so humble self, and that's all he needs to know. It's all I need to know.
A misdirection, then.
No, that's the entire truth.
Mizore looks at Veristrix like that's not all she needs to know, and she sees that that's not all he needs to know.
Yeah.
She says, fine, tomorrow it is.
Both of you seem so appalled about my approach here, but in the end, you know how to fly, not because you know the science behind it, or because you know exactly how your muscles move. You know how to breathe poison, and honestly, I'm not sure what it is you do, Versex. But those are things you just know. And it's the same for me, really.
Well, if your instinctive memories include those of extracting souls and providing them with suitable vessels through divine power, then shrugs and says, "Am I to judge?" But
Not exactly like that, but it's more like some things you can rely on something else than intellect and memories to guide you. Be
Mizore,
it
with her eyes closed, says, all right, I'm actually trying to go to sleep now. Look, I'll just talk to him. The rest is up to you, if he accepts.
Well,
Where's Plan B?
Where we still get what we want from Red and Seer.
Oh, absolutely.
Good night.
Where does Belignith and Varstrix choose to sleep?
Uh,
have you
yeah,
got a
but-
place for me?
yeah, Velignor has most certainly like prepared rooms for everyone, presumably. Spent like 10 days preparing. I assume he has prepared rooms.
Alright.
And one of them is like his own that he has used more than his lair in recent times. And Veristrix explicitly requested to have an empty room with nothing in it, so that was easy.
Yes. Wonderful. Well,
Sure.
Veristix will stay here then.
Missouri will just sleep under the open sky.
Yep.
All right. How heavily does Missouri usually sleep? What's the passive perception here?
I
You can hear the
Oh, pretty
snores.
good. Okay, not that
Yeah.
heavily.
I mean, I think I think it's probably like the heavy equivalent of what she is, but she's gotten a bit more alert by necessity over the years. It's not as safe as it was when she was sleeping with Besserek.
Grown in intuition at this point.
Yeah, even if she doesn't like it.
All right. Then we'll move you guys to your rooms. Everyone's in their rooms basically. I would just leave them here so we can see the guest.
Mm-hmm.
Choose
As Missouri is the one who will notice another guest arrive.
Okay.
Probably wake up. Yeah, it's night. It's windy up here. Not down here really, because the sort of wind above can be heard slightly. But beyond that, there's like an eerie sort of almost like a hiss as the dragon wakes, seeing what seems to be a collection of harpies. They are not, she recognizes them, which perhaps is not, it's not ideal situation because she remembers last time she dealt with them. She very thoroughly dealt with them.
Yep. Sure did.
And at this point, they're sort of more skeletized and see-through almost.
Oh.
As they sort of land and from their midst step two figures who seem corporeal.
She's gonna have to stand up at this point.
One of them looking around. He steps out of the host. His eyes just glow within a withered skull. Well, he certainly doesn't look alive. He sure knows alive. There's no heartbeat. There's no skin. Companion 2 moves with sort of an automatic movement, constantly aware, getting close to its master. But
Don't think Emizure is going to take any immediate action beyond the standing up. I think it's just going to be like a... I don't think it's like... She can't be like incredulous or like, like she's like stupefied. I think it's the same apprehension of like, what the fuck? I'm just thinking like, should I go? Should I say something? And I think that indecision's just going to grip her there.
The spectral harpies, again, many of whom she can probably recognize, will take. She broke them after all. Will take flight, moving a bit higher up. The two figures begin to walk in her direction. One of them seems the leader of the two. One walking in its heavy plate. The other one is sort of hovering slightly above the ground to move. Still come closer.
Okay. I don't think she'll move. Her gaze will go away from those harpies that she remembers to the lead figure approaching her.
Yeah, there's sort of an aura of sort of rotting cold sort of emanating from the creature. It'll stop at a bit of a distance from her. Seems to sort of so this sort of cold just touches.
Great.
Perhaps not wanting to envelop the dragon in its unholy presence.
She appreciates that.
I believe there was a meeting, I'll say. And I believe I came late.
Emissary says, there was, and you have, though all of the parties are still here and will reconvene when the sun rises.
I was hoping to encounter some of them. A group of 4 that have been active in this region for a little while. My sources led me to believe they would be here.
She says, it is possible there have been several groups of 4 who have arrived here to this meeting.
Would it be a problem if I inspected them?
She pauses, reflects, and says, they have retired to prepared rooms. How was it that you planned on going about to inspect them?
In a place not too far from here, I found a lot of fresh servants who were more than happy to enter each and every room to have a look. They will touch nothing I'm not looking. You have my assurance.
She says, they have not been promised any reassurances. You are permitted to do so.
Excellent. He'll return to the center of the plaza and spread out his hands. Speak the dark words of Thay to call upon him some of the servants he's most recently created. And they shall appear. Coming much like the harpies, in the black of night. A host of, shades or ethereal ghosts, life-draining things, appearing as if bound by chains before this creature, who looks to them, instructs them quickly. They then disperse, moving towards each exit or entrance in this place. So how deeply does Varistrix and Velignith? Well, looking at the perceptions, Velignith sleeps not so deeply, really.
He should be fairly aware.
Mm-hmm. Is he taking special care?
He'd certainly have his dwarves posted as guards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he sort of expects something to happen.
You know, with all these people he's invited into his fane, he figures, I guess, that someone might come up and try to talk to him or something.
He will be awoken then by a hasty dwarf who will speak ominous words, which is like, Master, the shades of the dead are walking the halls.
Excuse me, what?
as like past the open door into his room, one of these sort of, again, it's like a withered person in a funeral veil covering them entirely in sort of a black cloak of shadow moves through. Really, it's half seeing them, and the other half is just sensing the sort of the cold and the dread and the death that comes from these things. Some of them, the sort of vague faces and such that can be seen under their sort of cloaks of death, have like battle scars or fiery burns and some such. Perhaps some can be recognized as having their, the signs of being spell scarred in life. Apparently, that scar carries on to the undead soul, though it clearly has no effect on them, really.
And are they just looking, or what are they
It
doing?
sort of moves past, looks inside, and then continues gliding along.
All right. I'm not sure how to think about that.
The dwarf seems to wait for orders. Also not sure.
If Vocord and the Stone Giants were here, they try to determine what this was about.
Yeah.
We'll tell the dwarf that wake the others, observe these ghosts, see what they do. If they have any hostile intent whatsoever, if they show any hostile intent, tell me immediately.
All right. The dwarf will run out and begin to raise the guards, and who are all very alarmed at having sort of the shades of the day. It's a bad omen, when you're doing business meetings. Yeah. However, if nothing more is done, except Varusix will experience something very similar. Dwarves come in like, his guards telling him that the shades of the dead are walking the halls. It seem to be searching the rooms.
Urshix will nod, and yes, to go about their other urgencies. He'll get up and guess trying reconvene in a central area. Like, what's happening? What's going on here?
Mhm.
Weird shade-like things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Imizure has gotten over her apprehension enough to hope, man, it'd be really great if he came for the group that came from Westgate, so I wouldn't have to talk to them. That'd be wonderful, she says to herself.
Strangely, however, as the shades begin to return, each having killed no one, and so suggesting they did not find what they were supposed to be looking for. The figure will just wait patiently, really, for all of them, and that's what you'll notice below. Basically, people, no one is reacting like this is what they expected. No one's like, "Oh no, they found me." Everyone's sort of scared and confused and defensive. Some believing some of the others might have done it, or there's a plot or something. No one's really entirely sure what to do as they return surface here. Basically collect back in.
We're looking for pick one of the ghosts and follow it.
Sure. It just glides up through the floor to the.
Well, that.
I
hard to
shift
follow.
through the stone.
But it's going upstairs,
Oh, we're looking for move upstairs then. Presumably see the gathering here.
The figure, the harpies above. So the figure will sort of turn and look for Ignith. Again, hovering slightly, glowing eyes. Tightly followed by the other one.
Yeah, I think it approaches slowly, forcing the somewhat burnt down braziers to once again flare up to illuminate the space a little bit more.
It's somehow not warmer.
Seal stop some distance away. Obviously not exactly pleased about the invasion that has just happened here.
We'll hover forward. Look at him. Look slightly to the side to see to Imizure. What is Imizure's reaction as she sees the others? Just still different.
Yeah, I think she's still standing distant here. It's an apprehension. I think she does not She doesn't want violence. It'd be great if they just left. She doesn't want to say anything or do otherwise to stop them from just leaving. Because she thinks to herself, Thayans, that'd be really great if I didn't upset them today.
I'll hover slightly. They are not here. Unexpected in some fashion.
Who are you looking for?
A group of 4. They fled my homeland a while ago and have been investigating, I imagine, looking for a weapon in these hills. I am to intercept them, find them, and dispatch them. Learn what they have found. I am also to look into the disappearance of an apprentice of mine. Some years back now.
Perhaps a better question. What gives you the right to be as intrusive and annoying in this place as you have been? I assume... Philip actually glances over to Abby. Unless she has given you permission?
Felix, I requested the acceptance of a search, and it was given.
Then I take my...
Apologize for being late to this meeting. However, I hoped to find my quarry here. I understand they were invited, but sadly did not show. A typical, sort of says, with a bit of hate in the voice, typical action of their kind.
Even if they had been here, you would not have been allowed to take care of them in this particular place. I do not want infighting between the people I might want to benefit from.
Being says nothing to that.
Besides, I'm still not entirely sure who you mean.
I would ask if you have encountered them. But I have been informed they have contacted the local dragon. Moving to Varstrix. A group of 4 bold, appearing to be monks. Exiles from Thay. They have fled here.
Strix will have a bit of a flash of recognition and nod and say, yes, I approached them, but left them to go on their way. They were not interfering with my business. As for their whereabouts, I could not tell you after.
No matter. I will find them, even if it takes time. I have much and they have little. Are you, perhaps, then, if you would do me the favor of answering, aware of a Thayan here in the valley some years back? An apprentice looking at old ruins.
I'm not gonna answer that.
Verstrix shakes his head. Streamform does the same.
Thay remembers both allies and enemies for a long time. If you happen upon information I could use, there will be rewards for you.
It will be noted.
Well then, turn and leave without further ado. It's done here. You do not have what it seeks at the moment. Spectral harpies will sort of land down shimmer as the being sort of moves into them, really. Almost disappearing in them as they then take flight, turning almost invisible in the night. A few more minutes last before the cold chill leaves.
I don't suppose you've heard from those monks again, have you, Therastrix?
No, I didn't seem prudent to track them. The Harpies would have, well, they had been seen near Besarak's ruin, although what they've been doing there, I cannot say.
I briefly encountered them. I told them that they could go after their business if they reported to me about some of their findings, which
I-
they obviously did not.
Yes, their absence here is also a knowing tell of their intentions for that.
Well, I'm going back to sleep.
Yes. Fairtrix looks around. What's the Are they like waiting for something? Like the people who are still here.
No, Manikai
Oh,
left those
no,
tokens
they're
there.
downstairs.
Just for convenience. They're still downstairs.
Okay. Then, never mind that. I'm gonna go back to bed.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of commotion though downstairs. I mean, it clearly was a bit of a disturbance, if you will.
Well,
Alarms canceled. So is Christmas.
Yeah, an ominous thing to wake up to. What is in Missouri?
Just-
Moved.
Yeah, doesn't go back to sleep. That wasn't great. Figures that she's gonna stay off the surface now for the rest of time. Doesn't and now concerned about sunning herself in all future encounters. This is not like when she heard news that Thans were around here, that wasn't quite what she expected. She saw that happening in the camp like a 10-day ago, and now like all those harpies she killed are back. Sort of. This whole necromancy thing really off-putting.
Quite so.
And there's more of them, and they can do that, and like it's like a few years, but this guy eventually came around to try and find his apprentice. We killed him, and
plausible
like
deniability.
like if this guy dies, would like someone who trained him come looking for him? Just concerned about how deep this hierarchy goes.
Yeah.
It's endless.
Yeah. Especially if, they're undead, so death isn't really a problem for them, so they can just sort of like linger around for centuries.
Yeah.
Ageless enemies.
Mhm.
I think she's gonna stay awake until the light comes, and then she'll get on with doing the thing Valignant really wanted her to do.
Mhm.
Oh.
Sure. Well, nothing more happens during the night, though. At some point, if Viserys has seen his chance to get back here and then sort of
He's got the
pretend to be
blanket.
sleeping on the blanket. Really, it's a dominance maneuver,
Mm-hmm.
He's the bigger dragon; he gets to have it, and is anyone going to tell him to move? He thinks not.
Okay.
Yeah.
As the sun rises, Nimizure is going to
shuffle over towards the section that's been cordoned off from the group from Westgate.
Sure.
Next day.
They have in the meantime posted guard. Seems like they actually had that night too.
These are a sort of like lumber down the hallway, I guess it is. Shuffling over towards the guard that's been posted. Gets uncomfortably close. About like 15 feet. Like less. Looks at the guard. Says, I'm here to speak with your merchant captain. I am willing to indulge waiting if he is not awoken by this time.
He nods. It'll be but a moment. She would like glide in the door.
It's like when the dragon
Indeed.
says they're willing to indulge waiting.
But a moment later, gets steps out. The others are probably inside, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's like affixing his like bracers, you know.
Yes.
Quite a night.
It was indeed one but of many strange peculiarities in this region over the past season or two.
He shrugs.
You've heard of the unnatural winter, but another thing.
Indeed, many eyes on this place. But I believe that profit could be made.
Profit indeed. That is why I'm here. I am Emizure Lidrathir. My titles are such irrelevant to why I am here in particular, which is to extend to you the offer that Velignith dangled amongst everyone.
He nods, as if he's not surprised.
Mm-hmm. She looks to her left, looks to her right, says, walk with me.
Sort of, considers it for a moment. Just, just that like
Mhm.
second delay.
Yeah.
She then like shrugs, nods.
Yeah.
Essentially, if the dragon wants to kill him, it's not like he could stop him anyway.
Right. Basically just like starts walking down like one of the corridors.
Oh.
She says, I heard tell that you have maybe 20 years in you, and you wish to spend the latter half of those in luxury, yes?
Ideally, though if I have miscalculated and might live longer, more luxury is better than more work.
What if that miscalculation could be guaranteed for you, Captain? In your favor, the miscalculation.
Yeah, she wasn't sure if that was a threat just more before.
Which is why she followed up.
So, yeah, I think I would find that most agreeable. Though 20 years is a conservative estimate. It simply is where I come from. When one's skill begins to go weaker, it does not last long.
Yes.
I need time. I need capable time.
It is not a difficulty I can relate with, you creatures, as time passes, your bodies fade. What if your body didn't fade, Captain?
Such things usually come at a price.
They do, and they most certainly have one. The red dragon who spoke, Velignith, serves Tiamat. How familiar you are with her is as irrelevant as my titles are to you.
Just like a shrug.
Yeah, like the offer which is being extended is one that is draconic in nature, as you might imagine, befitting this locale. It is such draconic essence. The Kava dragon that was at the meeting has some draconic essence that we no longer wish for him to have, and wish to put it within someone appropriate. The most appropriate individual who appeared yesterday was you.
That tells me something about the sort of work you wish to be done.
Long-reaching in nature, it would not be suitable to find someone of your caliber, potential, and for them to die or retire in 10 years.
You know, and the side effects.
She
I'm
says,
sure there are some.
it is undeniable. The full extent of those I could not divulge, for I am and always have been a dragon, and do not know how you would take to the essence. If you are strong of body and will, then you should not have trouble adjusting. But looking at you, it is impossible for me to say.
You know, it's,
You
it
will
seems to
have,
not be entirely. I mean,
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
unknowns.
right. There are, of course, risks, as there are in any venture, much as when you receive the invitation. And you are welcome, of course, to take the time you need, so long as the offer is not made to someone else who accepts.
Oh. All right, yeah, he nods.
Mm-hmm.
He understands that.
That is indeed all, given Velignith is... She says it dismissively, High Priest of Tiamat. He would be the one who would direct the draconic essence into you, and so if you have any specific questions about this ritual, you should seek him out. Though, given how he is, he might see such a thing as weakness. Whether you care about that is your choice.
This is slightly. He's trying to figure this out, but
Mhm.
if nothing else, information's good.
Yeah.
Look at me and say, and if I may, if you would permit me a question then, why are you here talking to me about this instead of Velignith? I believe he was the one inviting everyone. It also seems to be his proposition.
It is his proposition. It was his invitation. This was his meeting. He pauses and just says, fuck it. He hates talking with others. Hates the complication involved with it. Would rather engage in business.
Well, he said nods to that. Seems to be a simple answer to something I expected to be more complicated. Well, I will talk it over with my people, see what I can come up with, but I never was one to say no to opportunity.
She looks, blinks, and says, well, wouldn't you know it, we've ended back up at your room. That is all, then, Captain.
Yeah, he'll give the dragon sort of nod. Not sure if he should there's no hand to shake or
Yeah,
There's
that's fine.
a slight awkwardness that I've seen a couple times with people who have not really to whom dragons are monsters and used to
Right.
be monsters up until now. They're
Yep.
not really sure how you would even talking. It seems like a
How do you
strange
interface
thing.
with a dragon? Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll leave him outside the door to his room.
He'll go back inside.
Sort of shuffles off. Gets back up to the roof area where she sees Ophisterelix laying.
Mm-hmm. Nice sunny spot.
She contemplates what to do. I think that's what she's gonna do. Gonna fly up in the air. And then she's gonna belly flop on top of him to lay on top of him.
It's like a wheezing sound.
Oh,
She'll wiggle her body on his scales. Says, nice and warm.
He's a bigger dragon than she is. just that bit older.
Uh,
Sort of
uh,
turn slightly, acting almost, as sort of like lets out like a pained, slightly pained, like snore sound, as if Missouri is not even noticeable.
She'll cozy up on top of him, like wiggle again and close her eyes.
Sure.
She's willing to play this game.
Yeah. No. I mean, he's fast asleep.
Yep. She's willing to be committed to this. She says after a few minutes, "Thank you for saving the spot for me. It's so nice and warm."
Oh, I didn't even notice you were there. Did I take your spot?
She says, "Well, now it's our spot. We can both enjoy it. Keep each other warm."
It's got like a foot in his face.
oh my.
Oh, here's my tail in the way. She like wraps it around his.
Oh my.
Hmm.
This is.
She gets how this work. He's trying to be an asshole and honorous here, and she's willing to call him. See what his next move is.
I think it's sort of lay there, his tail tip of his tail flicking back and forth like an annoyed cat's, until he sort of just really rather smoothly sort of slides out under her. Sort of,
She pretends like she didn't even notice because she was asleep. You know.
yeah. You can have it now. I was done anyway. But
you're leaving already.
I am.
Oh, shame. I thought Velignith wanted us all to get closer. It's well,
This
if
is
you
not what he
insist.
meant.
That's when Malignant gets up here. To see this, there looks like squeezing out.
Hmm.
She like looks up and meets Malignant's eyes. Sarah licks his eyes, full of a little bit of confusion and sort of a little doubt.
Marish just looks on with the typical exasperated look at just, Emizure, right? Like,
Who's like flopped there back in her spot, eyes closed, tongue slightly lolling out of her mouth.
Tail like accidentally knocking a few coals out of the brazier, Goes over here. Beyond that, though, the ball's in your court.
let's see here.
Well, if Captain Willem over there has in fact agreed to the whole thing, Malachi, this might be a odd question,
Uh-huh.
but does Velignith actually know what he has to do?
I knew it!
Well,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, you did some research before. It was something you invested a bit of time into digging into. And, he's probably not wrong. He could probably figure it out. Probably doesn't know exactly what to do. It'd be a bit of a
Leap of faith.
yeah, maybe.
He's winging it like usual.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his way, though. It works.
It is a wisdom, so he just has to trust his instincts in a way.
Yeah.
Intuition and his faith, his belief. But yeah, I mean, to him, he believes that it would be much like an exorcism of some kind.
Oh,
There is,
dear.
of course, some sort of. It's not really how these things are normally, But ideally, he will want to remove the essence from the copper dragon, and then sort of have something available for it to latch onto, really, or however that's supposed to work. So I'm really sure about the details. But the exorcism, you can start there.
Oh dear.
Then that seems to be a prudent thing to do.
Yeah.
Why wait?
The captain will accept insofar that it seems to be a profitable thing. Draconic power, eternal life, or close to it. It's to him 100 years more seems like a good deal enough. All well and good, gives him a bit more time, which would be good. Some rivals back home who might have a different opinion of him if he's dragon powered. Certainly.
Don't know if eternal life is part of the deal, but we'll find out. Let's find out together.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we don't have eternal life, so he's definitely not good.
Yeah.
All right.
Close enough.
This is a religious thing. So let's see how well you can do a religion check.
You conducting this at the shrine of Tiamat that's erected here?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Like downstairs, away from prying eyes. No guards. Just him and Office Derelicts. Let's see.
No, just the two of them. Secret rendezvous.
Getting closer.
Yeah.
What?
It's just not what Valik did that.
This is what it takes.
Okay.
Religion check, you said.
Uh,
Since this is fairly important, I think Malignant is gonna invest some draconic essence here. I think it's sort of appropriate. It's not really like his essence, his drive, but he's very much putting like him just being a dragon and his connection to Tiamat as the primary means of actually accomplishing this.
Mm-hmm.
It is what gives him his power, after all.
He does have a special connection to.
Yeah, watch me roll a 1. Not quite a 1, but also terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's how it goes. Yeah. Magnus begins to do his ritual, and it takes a while. No one's really there to disturb them. Normally, Tiamat likes sacrifices, and perhaps there's some gifts and such on the shrine that can be given up to the dragon flame to transition to Tiamat's realm. Return for this. Tiamat is not usually a deity that does a lot of exorcisms within the portfolio, but as it happens, both of his derelicts and the thing possessing him kind of want this too. Malignant does his best, given the situation, and perhaps we just cut to the end of the couple of hours of such, probably like 2 sessions of 4 hours or so. It's not an immediate thing. Of his derelicts getting more and more sickly and like unhappy really with the whole thing. As it ends with a sizzling of his derelicts rushing over to one of the big urns that I hear, sort of to brazier probably, to praise Tiamat, and vomiting up what seems to be gallons and gallons of sort of black boiling tar. It sizzles and sort of pops as it splashes out of him as he sort of lets out pained groans and spraying it into the brazier. Coughing and sort of shaking as he looks at it, and then drags himself like to the side away from it. The sort of black liquid sort of smoking, slowly evaporating, perhaps.
All right, I assume that's the stuff The good old captain now has to drink, so congratulations.
Oh
Certainly
boy,
smells foul enough to be liquefied black dragon.
yummy.
Maybe we could freeze it and make a black dragon popsicle.
I pity the dwarf or whoever who has to come scrub this out later.
Yeah.
Actually, it seems like some of the sizzling is the brazier being dissolved.
Hmm.
Soon it'll be on the floor. Sterling just dragged stuff. Oh, that was almost as bad as going down. Oof.
Mm,
Oh,
You're
but-
welcome.
oh, yes, thank you. Oh, be very careful with that stuff. Almost killed me when I drank it. Really had to push myself to get all of it down.
You never quite told me why you drank it in the first place.
Well, so looks at it. You know, I was there in his lair, and he wasn't there, and I saw a large pool of very important, potent acid. And I thought, well, what would he love? He would love the acid, so I drank it.
That actually makes perfect sense.
I'm supposed to be very, resistant, but it's still hurt a lot. Actually, it was a very bad idea. But now I don't have to care anymore. Now I can. Oh, I need something to drink. just like dragon. So he just stumbles, knocking into something, like spitting out like a bit of dragon blood, and then like stumbling back.
Now's the time. Put him down. Ah.
Like, get up, like stumbling out here, knock over Brazier a bit. Take the flight and like fly to the lake over there and splash into it.
Sir, like sits up. Right, like lifts herself up a bit to like look off at a distance to where the copper dragon like stumbled off it too.
Like make from what like spills over a little bit.
Yeah. Chooses to believe that everything is okay. Basically just like goes off to like keep an eye on him.
Blackness is still sizzling and boiling.
Chicks has never been so worried in his life for someone else.
What are you gonna do with the liquid, sheep?
Yeah, as I've said before, Villager still wants that put into the dude. You know, if it's gonna kill him, then oh well.
I don't know, man. Copper Dragon drinking like gallons of acid, basically, for a prank is one thing. Trying to convince the fleshy human to drink that.
Oh, convincing him is not going to be an issue, I don't think. As for him actually surviving the procedure, I mean, Tiamat will have a hand in it. Claw, or two, hopefully.
So you sent like I don't know, you sent for him.
Yeah, I expected him to be there actually.
Oh,
Well, you said it was just you
He
and
wasn't going to
Opha-
wait around for 8 hours. Or...
Yeah, you said it was just you and Opha Sterling, so.
Oh no, I meant Officer Sterlix and him as the two.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, and as Manikai said, he wasn't going to wait around for 8 hours.
Well, he looks on in horrified eyes as this thing spews out of the dragon constantly.
No, he'll show up after. He doesn't exactly know what happened, but it seemed
Alright,
seemed
fine.
important. Show up his best attire.
Oh, you
He'll
should have
Come
worn.
to the door to the shrine.
You're not going to be
So-
able to wear those clothes again.
Frown slightly.
What
She
you have to do.
wrinkles his nose at the smell of like I don't know, burning vomit and stomach content.
What you have to do is easy, but it will require immense willpower and it'll hurt like nothing has ever hurt before. If you're strong enough, it'll work, and you'll get everything you can ever dream of, really.
He smells like this. I've had kidney stones. I think I can handle it.
Starting to believe your arrogance is indeed confidence. And then the lady will instruct him to, oh god, drink the horrific goop. All of it.
Drink all the goop.
I think he'll look at it. You know, as it like some of it begins to sort of drizzle onto the floor from the brazier it's burned through. And sort of look up at the dragon in disbelief.
It's either you drink the stuff, or I put it in you. There's no third option.
Oh,
Give me an
Oh.
intimidate check.
All right.
that could be taken in so many different ways.
I mean, even if you roll high on this, man, like that's one of those situations where it's like,
He
I ordered
is
you
agreed to this.
To die, kind of. Yeah.
Step like a little closer, you know. Like look at it. We'll say it's this brazier over here. The green stuff can be the spill. He like, you know, like touches it with his boot as it begins to sort of sizzle and smoke. He says this. I'm pretty sure I'll just die.
Your body would not ordinarily be able to survive this stuff. But this is not an ordinary situation. There are powers here at work that you do not need to understand.
I might have to reconvene with my men.
You will not leave this room alive unless you drink this stuff.
Drink this stuff. Drink this.
I mean, death might be worth it, man.
Yeah.
He's somewhat, you know, he sort of looks around. He looks like he's looking for something, anything.
Someone save me from this.
But the room doesn't, like, I mean, it doesn't really have that much in it. As he looks to the acid and like the sizzling, says, "How?"
Think of something. This is not my problem. This is yours.
It's not my problem, it's yours. But I'm gonna kill you if you don't do it. So
Yeah, exactly.
this is
Damn.
great. I love this. What a dilemma.
This is not what he thought would happen. He didn't know what he thought would happen. But not this.
It's not what I thought would happen. What
No,
the
me
fuck?
neither. What happens next?
Wait, honestly, I don't need to hear the details.
No, I think the details are important.
Yeah, I
You're
think-
trying to force this guy to do it.
I think it's rail on me for my decisions. Is you're forcing the man to die or
I don't know
die.
how he's. You haven't even given like an acid-proof ladle or anything.
Use your hands. You won't need them anyway.
What the fuck?
He sort of, you know, the stuff, dragon. You know, he. Thing is, he's been in a like. Well, he's never been in a worse situation in his life. Stop by saying that. He's been in some bad spots. He's done some stuff that he wouldn't want to do because he had to. And he doesn't, you know, he really doesn't want to do this, but also doesn't want to get eaten by a giant lizard monster. Probably he's cursing himself that maybe he shouldn't have done this. It's a bad idea. Seems like a terrible idea, but he's here. And what are you gonna do? But try to be, you know, you gotta try something because these two dragons you can't even move out of the door. I think he'll go over and try to like, you know, like put his With his gloves on, use a dagger to begin flicking some of the coals out of a brazier, Figure maybe the more of this stuff evaporates, the less he has to drink. Will be a good start. Waste some time if nothing else.
If I just breathe in the fumes, will that be the same?
Yeah,
Uh,
smells terribly. Probably makes him sick, but I think after having done that, and sort of spend an hour maybe like stalling, he'll sort of look and say, "Can I? Do you have a cub or?"
Like will roll his eyes and like turn out the door where one of his dwarf guards is undoubtedly waiting to fetch a. I guess a ladle would be good, or like a big spoon.
That is somehow acid proof.
I mean, dwarves work with lava all the time. It's fine.
You didn't even prepare this man like a protection from acid scroller spell or something.
It's all feeling. Shush, shush. You can't.
Of all the potions you've made, maybe a potion of protection from acid would have been great.
This is not an exact science.
It literally is.
This is all part of it.
Like I'm trying to imagine what it's like to be like an ambitious, like, ne'er-do-well here. Maybe wanting power, but then the giant lizard creature says, "You either drink this or I kill you." Trying to determine which one of those fates is actually worse.
He asked for this.
It's a bad spot to be in.
Well, maybe the stress makes him more receptive. Who knows?
It makes sense now that why it was so secretive.
And I'm a level with you. I'd rather be killed by Valigna than drink this.
At least it'd be quick if Valigna eats you. So.
Yeah, well,
I don't know what this is gonna do to me.
Nah. Worst comes to worst, William's just gonna knock this guy out and then just pour it in. See what happens.
You know what? If it's been an hour, only indestruction is the truth reveal. This guy's wasted your time.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Like
Really
William
good fucking spoon.
William wants to see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, he's basically gonna do that. He's gonna knock him out and just force it.
Oh, this is so
You're
evil.
also- Maybe Valigna's like, maybe I shouldn't have had you be conscious for this. That was too cruel. Whap.
I also want to know what happens.
Praise Tiamat, I guess.
He's not entirely sure, but you can do it. So let's just say you're a dragon, you bash him on the back of the head or something.
That's the ladle.
Yeah.
She collapses on the floor as it's spilling out everywhere. Varus saying, "Ooh, ooh," from the corner. He looks away. Dreamforce still looks.
Dwarven guards like outside are like wrinkling their noses and like looking back at the door.
Door's closed.
Just hear, ah!
You heard nothing. Yeah, and okay, and then it's just force feeding him the horrible acid. All right. Could you give me a heal check?
Boy.
Heal check. That's gonna work well. Actually, it's not that.
Okay.
I mean, I've got 3 spares, so I'm not too worried.
Oh,
Enough.
my God.
And each of them have companions too.
This is like your first attempt. It'll work eventually.
It's like the acid continues to eat away at the floor.
The thing is, as you're sort of, I don't know how he does it really. Does he stick the guy, like, ladles it?
I mean, that would probably be like a request towards Tiamat to actually make this work, because it would be very good for everyone involved. And then he'll just sort of lift the brazier and
Pour. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sure. So the thing is, this stuff is very, very viscous, which means that it basically sticks together like sort of a blobby.
Yeah, it's like a syrupy thing that just
Yeah.
pours all over molasses.
As it does, it begins to eat away at everything, and sort of But as some of it like gets in his unconscious mouth and nose and eye holes, really, it seems to sort of most like an ooze would have like a desire for habitation or getting out of the air, maybe, as it sort of actively begins to move to get. He doesn't actually have to drink it; it just sort of goes there with a sizzling, sort of a reddening of his whole face and body with these like scars.
I didn't think this session was going to involve body horror.
Yeah. As it rushes inside, I think, and basically, we probably just see like hear this sort of sizzling and popping of like pork rinds as like sort of turns around, maybe holding this unconscious body that now is like just a little bit Darth Vadered. I mean, still alive. I can tell the guy has enough hit points on his stat block to survive. As the only one, people you're considering, in fact. In this manner, anyway.
Oh.
Meaning there was other
as he's he won't be wearing those clothes again, but willingness, I guess it's time to see if it worked. It certainly went into him.
That's good.
Mhm.
How do I see if it worked?
Let's get like a religion check. You did that too.
Oh, natural 20. All right.
It would seem so. The presence does seem to be there. Though the acid burned him terribly, maybe acid wounds are not the worst thing to worry about in his future. Maybe there will be some scarring. Dragons certainly suggest there will be. Maybe that can be fixed in time. Who knows? It might just be how he looks now. But yeah, it's there. How much control as such it'll have, that'll be something to wait and see. Effectively, how that works out. Both of them are probably unconscious at the moment.
Yeah, if Vellingnef has any influence here, he would like the dragon to have as much influence as possible, obviously.
Sure, with a 20 there, I think you can probably do that. As you maybe do a bit of a ritual sort of on this unconscious body, put it on the altar. Begin to chant and such to make the captain's mind maybe just a partner rather than a ruler of his own brain.
Yeah, partnership.
Exercising
that's
him a little bit. Yeah. I don't know, Varstrix, is he just watching the whole thing go down?
Yeah, Varstrix is horrified visibly.
I mean,
like
you've
How
done
dare-
worse.
How dare Veristrix be horrified?
no, come on. This no. The things I've done has been on spell scarred things, okay? Like they're already doomed. This man had hopes and dreams, and you scarred him for life. Like, and inflicted horrific
Forcibly
pain.
integrated him with a black dragon.
Yeah, with no preparation, just like, just do it. I mean, it worked, but also, I've done bad things, but that's an extra. That's extra bad. But I think
like how this is the line that's been crossed here. None of the other lines, but now
certainly, Sheep. You know what? Take an extra draconic essence for the destruction in truth, because you're basically, I mean, you're making shit by breaking shit right now. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't get. This is how he works.
Yeah.
How do you think metal plating is made?
Yeah.
You need a mold.
Yeah, but for Veristrix is more horrifying at the lack of preparation, not what was being done.
This is horrible. This could have done better.
Yeah, but that's
If it was
okay.
clinical, then
Yeah.
Well, like the doubt should have crept in yesterday, right? With what do you mean you're just gonna?
I mean, the doubt was there, but he didn't want to intervene because he had the hope that perhaps he was wrong. But
He's only wrong so much, that Veristrix.
You know, seems like a lot lately. Oh man, what an
Yeah.
ending! What an
No
ending!
wonder Malignant had this guy fucking.
This is great though.
That is a word that could be used, I guess.
Uh,
Look at you two being surprised that the red dragon can do something horrible after being so nice all this time.
No, it's not a matter of me being surprised or being horrible. It's just like
it's just
I
to
can't
just-
imagine anyone here having accepted that situation.
No.
That's
Not in this amount of detail.
uh,
The callousness of all right, and now you human drink the gallons of acid. Like,
yeah, drink the Black Death in front of you. Like, uh,
so ruthless disregard.
you know, dragon-like sense.
All right. Perhaps we cut to,
Anything else?
a few days later or some such. I'll need to recover after all. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to do with all the guests?
They've gotten the message. They need to give me their response. That would be important. Actually, yeah, one more thing. I would like to tell them, probably don't need to roleplay that should they be willing to invest more heavily by, for example, providing people to man the Fane here, perhaps also as a point of contact, then that would be very good.
Come out here, the punishment post.
Pretty much, yeah. It's gonna be not nice to stay, but prestigious, surely.
Yeah, Podcar believes that he can find people. And Soren too actually believes that he can. He knows a couple people who'd be interested to hang around here and just
Great.
Tiviora is disappointed. He has heard no more about this honor. But so be it. There'll be others, he's sure.
I'm leaving and I'm taking the gardener with me.
Yeah, I mean, short of it is that they all would like to work with Relignith.
Great.
That's the answer they return.
Then they'll be contacted as needed.
Good. All of them seem fairly eager for that, though, in each their own way. Yeah, as for the district folk, I mean, they're happy with the proposition as was given to them. And Sterlix needs to recover too, because he's also a bit out of it.
I can imagine.
As the meeting is probably adjourned. Dragons can return home. If there's nothing else, at least.
I don't think there's.
No, I think I've seen what I need to see.
Right.
Heard what I didn't necessarily want to hear, but I heard it.
There's a is Veristrix horrified for the rest of his time there, like, and then he's just there's no preparation.
You know, I feel like the way that it was went about is very much akin to how Malignant does things, so there's no issue there. It's more that
Yeah.
just essentially, in that sense, Veristrix and Malignant are diametrically opposed in their approach.
right,
So
right. And then all the acid got spit up in the brazier, and it just started getting eaten away by the acid.
yeah.
It started eating to the floor. That was everywhere. Just what kind of clawed into his mouth? What kind of ritual is that?
It's certainly something to think about on the flight back home. Eventually.
Maybe those spell scarred rituals don't seem that bad.
Well, I mean, the exorcism, it worked.
Yeah.
Not exactly as intended, but
Yes.
And forcibly joining like entities together, like the Spellscarred Kingdom wants to do. Yeah.
Very painfully, might I add.
Is Malignant
the
just as
Spellscarred
bad as the
also do it
Spellscarred Kingdom?
that way, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not
I
like
mean-
their way is super nice.
No, but they instantly get incinerated. They don't like.
You know, lucky.
You're lucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a dragon doing it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. But the dragons can certainly return home. What's the next move for them? What's the next thing they?
I think, given the light of what's happening, Veristrix would like to possibly initiate some contact with the aboleth to see whether or not it has gotten recruited. See what the state of affairs is there before he will enact the ritual, so to speak, and take on the Spellscar Kingdom.
Imizure wants the knowledge of Red and Seer, and Valignus said, "No, we're not going to offer him a copper dragon. I'm going to use the copper dragon to make a deal, and we'll get the information like we need by overthrowing the Temple of Agma." And now we wait and done the ritual. Imizure wants that. If that doesn't get done, then Ophisterlix
Yes.
is sacrificed.
All right. That certainly is a goal. Yeah. Looks like we're gonna do more social talking.
Oh.
Yeah. Valignus said, "I'll take care of it," and she's like, "Fine."
Yeah.
Perhaps it's interesting.
Mhm.
My country is now, as of like half an hour ago, is on complete lockdown, so not allowed to go outside anymore.
Yeah, that's something that happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably just where we'll be done with that.
All right.
Thanks for the
Richard,
session.
I hope everyone was engaged.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely engaged for sure. That was.
yeah. How do you all think you'll be doing for next week? Preliminary.
I'll be there.
I don't see why not.
For the moment, yeah. For a moment, thumbs up.
Okay. Good. That's all we could really ask for these times.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much that then.
Great.
All right.
When the heroes come after the dragon for our long list of crime, let this also be on the list.
Something to think about. I will.
I mean, they are not crimes because the laws don't apply to us.
All
That's
the
true.
people we've butchered and massacred along the way.
So,
I mean, that's what dragons do. Soliath was very right when he said that it's only going to get worse. Take out dragons when they're young.
What were you saying? Okay.
no, I was just gonna say that I'll end the stream there so people
Oh,
can think about what just happened.
Ruminate.
Yes. So see you guys.
What's going to happen next?
Who is the least worst dragon?